Welsh is suing her daughter, Tanika Mulicki, and her husband, Dana, for a loan to buy Christmas presents for their children.
All rise.
Yes, case number 106 on the calendar in the matter of Welsh versus Mulicki. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Ms. Welch, this is your daughter, and it is your claim that you extended a loan to your daughter and her husband when they needed some money. You had an agreement with them that they would pay you back that money at the rate of $25 per paycheck from you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And they paid you back some, then you had an argument, and there were no further payments on the loan. And your daughter says that they did, in fact, one time take a loan from you. They've paid you back in full, and she has no idea of what you're talking about with this other loan of $2,100. Is that right? When was the last time you took a loan from your mom?
Christmas of 2004.
How much was it for?
I can't really tell you an amount because I never received the receipts.
I don't care whether you received receipts.
I was with her when she bought the stuff, you know. And
explain that to me. You were out shopping?
Correct. Every year, my mother and I went shopping the day after Thanksgiving. We would go through the ads on Thanksgiving Day and decide what we might want to buy our children for Christmas. And we would discuss what Christmas presents she would put on her credit card that my husband and I would pay for later. But I know for a fact it did not total $2,100.
Is this the loan you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. I have my credit card statements.
Can I see them, please? Okay. What was purchased at Steve and Barry's? What kind of store is that?
It's a clothing store, and it was clothes for Dana and Trevor.
And what was purchased at Nebraska Furniture?
We had gone there and we had purchased DVDs that were on sale and some other little things.
Toys R Us in Omaha.
That would be mine.
Radio Shack.
That's mine.
There is also a bill here for $288 for ShopGo in October. Do you know what that is?
It's for 2 Christmas presents for my son and my stepdaughter.
How much did you pay back?
Out of his check, we've paid back $575 just from his paycheck. And then also in February of 2005, I had received my income tax check, and I had borrowed $25 from my mother. And when I received my income tax check, I deposited $25 plus $200 into her account at that same bank.
Did she deposit $225 into one of your accounts?
Yes, she did.
So then it's
25 of it was for the 25 that I gave her.
Fine, so that's
the other
200.
200 was a $200 toward their car payment because they had not given me the car payment.
Why do they give you their car payment?
Because it's in my name and I want to make sure it gets paid.
Why is it in your name?
Because they don't have good credit.
But Your Honor,
are you paying for the car, by the way?
Yes, I have never
Your
missed
Honor,
a payment.
They did not pay me $375. I have the receipt.
$575.
No, they did not. They gave me $300 out of his paycheck.
You have proof
and that's all.
You have proof that you paid her $575 out of your paycheck?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I see it, please?
I have the deposits right here from my bank. Not all of that money went toward the loan. All they paid me through deposits into my account was $300.
You may say that, madam, but this amount comes up to $575.
Your Honor, we're talking about Christmas presents purchased in 2004.
Miss Welch, I want to tell you something, madam. It's difficult enough to try to ferret out non-familial lawsuits when there are loans. When there's family and you have complicated your financial structure with your children, as far as summer car loans, this is a Christmas loan, you don't expect the courts in this country to waste their time ferreting that out because you had a fight with your daughter. That's not going to happen.
The fight with my daughter, Your Honor, is because of them neglecting their children.
Miss Welch, what I'm telling you is courts are not going to do that. This court is not going to do that. I will take a look at your bills and try to make a judgment as to overall how much of this money was paid back. But if you expect me to go week by week and figure out how much of the $25 went into your bank and how much maybe went into a loan for a car and how much went, just listen to me, it's not going to happen. And if what you're telling me is that the fight with your daughter was precipitated by the fact that you felt as if they were not doing the right thing with their children, I'm telling you that you got to take your nose out of her business.
Leaving their children home alone at night for 10 hours?
Miss Welch, what I'm telling you is you have to take your nose out of their business. And if you feel as if your grandchildren, because of the neglect of their parents, are legitimately at risk, and you've said to your daughter, I don't think it's a great idea to leave the kids home alone. Not a great idea. And she doesn't listen to you, and you have a substantial and legitimate concern about your grandchildren, you call Child Protective Services and let them do an investigation. And the only way you keep your mother's nose out of your business is to not take money from her. How many children do you have?
We have 5 children, Your Honor.
You have 5 children. So you're mature enough to have 5 children. Mm-hmm. I assume that if you couldn't take care of them, then you wouldn't have had them, because that would have been irresponsible, right?
Correct.
But you can't take care of them because you have to keep borrowing money from your mother, which means that you didn't have enough money to have 5 children. So that's irresponsible. If you can't support 5 children, you don't have 5 children. But once you take money from your mother because you're irresponsible, then she feels as if she has the right to say to you, you're not acting responsibly with my grandchildren. But the fact is, you weren't responsible because you had too many children that you couldn't take care of. You say no, I'm saying yes. You're standing there, you look like an idiot. And what you've done is you've taken a relationship that was a good one, and if your mother said to you, I don't like my grandchildren staying home alone. How old is the oldest child?
12.
And how old is the youngest child?
She's 2.
A 12-year-old cannot watch a 2-year-old.
My 12-year-old doesn't watch my 2-year-old. My 2-year-old's in daycare.
We're talking about when the children were home by themselves.
They weren't home alone at night. We actually took our children to his mother's every single night and picked them up every single morning.
Did you ever
before
tell
school.
your mother that the children were going to be home alone?
No, she deducted that herself, ma'am.
She came up to that conclusion on her own.
No, they told me that on the night after Thanksgiving when Dana made it my business that he was going on nights the 1st of December. I said, who's going to take care of the kids? We're leaving them alone because Dana can come home from work every hour and check on them.
Okay. I want to tell you that that's wrong. Absolutely 100% wrong. Because if Child Protective Services came 5 minutes after she left and found the 12-year-old in charge of 3 children, they would remove all the children from the house.
Well, they haven't let me see the kids since.
Okay. Well, that's a tragedy. So I'm going to tell you this. The only relationship that you can count on forever is hers.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I gathered that for a long time things were very good. Now you're saying no.
No.
She's an idiot. Unfortunately, she's your idiot.
And later today,
Here's one hole in the wall Dana did. Here's the hole Dana put in the wall when they were really fighting one day. I would get in the middle of it so Whitney could.
Just a second.
Oh, I would never get punched.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bridget Welsh says her daughter and son-in-law owe for unpaid loans. Tanika and Dana Mulicki are countersuing for the return of Tanika's engagement ring and harassment.
Listen, she's dumb as this. Unfortunately, Miss Welch, in this country, and I say unfortunately from the bottom of my heart, the Supreme Court has not taken a positive position with regard to whether grandparents have the right to seek visitation with their grandchildren if their children are denying them visitation. If I were the queen of the universe and running the world, it would be different. It would be different because dumb ones like this don't appreciate the fact that children need the widest possible community of love and affection. And even if you're not getting along with your mother, that doesn't mean that you cut your children off from a grandmother who was, for most of their lives, a positive influence. I gathered that for a long time things were very good. No, you're saying no.
No.
She's an idiot. Unfortunately, she's your idiot.
Ma'am?
Unfortunately, she's your idiot. You can't tell me things weren't good, madam, because then you would be a taker. Because then when you say to me, I would go shopping with my mother the day after, put your hand down, the day after Thanksgiving every year, that suggests to me that you had an ongoing relationship with your mother. Now you say no.
It was an off and on relationship.
It may have been off and on for you.
And it was off and on for her. She would tell me numerous times to stay out of her life. You're dead to me. You don't have a mother. She told my 12-year-old.
Miss
Miss Welch,
She told my
Miss Welch, listen to me. She's doing revisionist history because you're not paying attention.
I
My
am paying
statement to you is, I don't care what kind of relationship you have with your mother, and I don't care whether your husband has a good relationship with her either. What I'm saying to you is, if you are a good and loving parent, you don't cut your children off from their grandmother.
My son cut himself off from her.
All right,
My
good.
son
Listen,
is 12 years
listen
old
to
and
me.
understands.
Listen to me. I think that they still owe you $1,400, and that's what you're going to get as a result of this lawsuit. Now, you have some property that they say belongs to them. What property?
She's got an engagement ring that was given to me from my ex-boyfriend, who is my son's father.
Do you have an engagement ring that belongs to her?
That ring was given to me, Your Honor, for a loan that I made her.
Listen to me. Listen to me. She wants it back. I don't know why he wants it in his house. He doesn't. But she wants it back.
She also has his Nintendo 64 that we
Our
can't
son's
replace.
Nintendo.
My son's that we bought him personally for his birthday.
What was it doing in her house?
He took it there to play it when he'd go to her house because she doesn't have. She lives in an area where he can't just go outside and play with friends. She won't allow him to go outside and play with the neighbor kids because she says everybody uses drugs.
Just a second. So you allowed this child, your son, to take his Nintendo 64 game to your mother's house because he spent time there. I'm speaking. Answer the question.
Yes.
Listen, she's limited. It's not my fault she's limited, and maybe it's not your fault. The Nintendo 64 game, listen to me.
Trevor gave that to me, Your Honor, to keep at my house because he'd got an Xbox and I had also purchased him a PS2.
Listen to me very carefully, Miss Welch. The ring and the Nintendo 64 game up to be placed in a box, mailed back to them, and your check for $1,400 will be held until it gets back to them. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The final straw was when she told my 12-year-old, I'm dead to you and you do not have a grandmother.
My oldest said until she changes and changes her attitude, he doesn't want anything to do with her.
I just hope that the Lord takes care of my grandkids.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cameron versus Potts. Step forward.
Samantha Cameron is suing ex-boyfriend Christopher Potts for the return of furniture and appliances, as well as rent money and a security deposit. Christopher claims he owes her nothing.
Miss Cameron, you and Mr. Potts were in a relationship. According to your complaint, you decided to relocate with him. You got a job opportunity in Florida. You went down to Florida, two of you, you found an apartment, you put down a deposit, first month's rent, and Mr. Potts went down to Florida before you did.
Correct.
When he got there, he had a change of heart. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Why did you have a change of heart, sir?
Well, because at the time she wasn't actively looking for a job in Florida, and I didn't feel like she would be a real reliable person to share all the bills with.
So you were sort of looking for a solid business partner.
Well, I didn't want to put myself in a hole. It would have been easier for me to take care of myself versus me taking care of myself, another person, a small child.
Because you have a daughter who was relocating with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Mr. Potts, how much money did she put down on the apartment?
I'm not sure exact dollar figure.
You know the exact dollar figure.
Yes, ma'am. It was $877.50.
So my question to you, Mr. Potts, is what arrangements did you make to get her back her $877?
Well, there really wasn't at first any arrangement because the money that she put down towards the apartment is basically money that I put towards the cost of the moving.
Well, because you were supposed to move.
Well, I was moving.
You both were moving.
Right. If we're both moving, then we both should be coming out of pocket for money.
Well, how much did you pay for all the moving of her stuff, sir?
All right, I had purchased their shipping containers where you load them up yourself. Well, originally I only needed one. The pods were originally $850 a piece. I had paid the $850, and to get an additional pod was $850, so $1,700.
Show me that you paid for $1,700, sir. Show me.
I can't.
Why not?
Because I don't have receipts for that.
Where'd you think you were coming to today? To the beach?
Well, that was 7 months ago, so.
7 months ago is a minute, sir. So, I'm going to ask you again, what arrangements did you make to get her back her money, $877?
Well, I paid over $900 to ship her stuff back, which...
As well you should.
I don't agree.
Well, I don't give a rat's behind whether you agree or not. Whether you agree with me, Mr. Potts, is not particularly relevant in my life. That's why you come to court. I don't believe you, sir, that you paid $1,700 for a pod for you and for her.
For two of them. They're $850 a piece.
What I'm telling you, sir, is show me. Other than your great looks, Mr. Potts, what you have to do is have proof. Proof is a receipt, a paid bill for exactly what it was, and you don't have it.
No, I don't.
Right. You chose to breach the agreement that you had by telling her once she had sent down her stuff that you didn't want her to move there for your own reasons.
No, for the reasons that it was better for everybody.
Fine.
I thought I was doing the
Listen to me.
responsible thing.
That's a judgment that you made. Fine. But then, once you have made that judgment, what you have to do is make Miss Cameron whole. Whole.
Which
You
I did
have
by
to
sending
return.
my
I'm
belongings back.
speaking when my mouth moves, yours doesn't. By making Miss Cameron whole, you have to return her property to her at your expense. It would be untoward of you to think that you changed your mind and now you say you want your stuff back. You have to pay for the shipping of it back to New Jersey. That's ridiculous, Mr. Potts. Now, I believe him that he packed up your boxes and sent them back, that he spent money, as well he should, because it was his option to change his mind, thereby voiding the agreement that you had to move in together. Now, if you want these other items, washer, dryer, table, and chairs, you can make arrangements to get them at your expense. Do you understand? Because I don't think you really want them.
I do, ma'am. That was part of our agreement.
Well, it's unfortunate. I don't know if I believe you. In any event, he owes you $877, which was your down payment. Have you sent it?
No, ma'am, I have not.
Send it. Judgment for the plaintiff, $877. Thank you. That's all.
Or is our excuse when they step out?
We had an agreement. He reneged on the agreement.
To get her belongings back, I believe that was the motivation.
If you make an agreement with someone, you should follow through with it.
I think there was a little bit more behind it.
Just don't move in with anybody down to Florida.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Taylor versus White. Step forward.
Nina Taylor is suing 25-year-old Amanda White for taking back a 1998 Ford Contour she donated to her. Amanda claims Nina misappropriated the donation.
Ms. White, according to what I read, you gave Crystal a car.
Yes.
So you gave it to her.
Yes, ma'am.
As a gift.
Yes, ma'am.
When you gave Crystal the car, her mother invested money to have the car fixed. Then, according to Ms. Taylor, you took the car back.
Yes, ma'am.
And she wants the money that she invested in the car because you took the car back. So now I have to figure this out. Which one of you two ladies is Crystal?
Me.
Crystal, stand up next to your mom. When did you give Crystal the car?
Late July.
What kind of car was it?
A Ford Contour.
What year?
98.
How many miles did it have on it?
Approximately 200,000.
Okay, so it didn't have much value to it.
No.
And why did you give her the car?
The whole purpose, I paid the car off, and I said that when I get a new one, my whole point of not trading the car in was to give it away to somebody who was in need when I
Fine,
found
so you
that
gave it
person.
to Crystal?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
We worked together.
Why did you take it back?
We were waiting for a title to the car because I had a lien. I had trouble getting the title because of the lien. Miss Taylor contacted me right before I got the title, and she told me that she was suing me. She did not want the title at that point. She wanted the money that she says that she put into it. So I told her that I wanted receipts and I wanted to verify with my mechanic.
You have the car?
Yes.
You just give it back to Crystal.
That's not true.
Just a second. Listen to me. Perhaps Miss White didn't understand, so I have to explain the law to you. When you give a gift, you cannot give a gift with tentacles. You don't have the right to say, well, I'm giving it to you because I want to give it to somebody who's needy. But then if you do something with it that I don't like, I'm going to take it back.
Well, it's the whole idea that I was being sued. If I'm being sued for $2,000, prove it. She didn't want it.
Very
She
good.
didn't want the car. She didn't want the title. I told her I have the title.
Oh, fine. Well, just give her the. Just listen to me. Just give her the title.
I would at the door. At her
Just
door.
a second.
I
Listen
went
to
to
me.
her door and told her I
Perfect.
had it.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
Just a second. Listen to me very carefully. You're not entitled to any money. You're entitled to the car. Period. End of discussion. Do you understand? Miss Taylor, this is your lawsuit. Do you want the car?
No.
Then your case is dismissed.
Why is that, Judge?
Because you are not entitled to the money. You fixed up the car. You're entitled to the car that she gave you. It was a gift. It was an unconditional gift. She gave it out of her heart because she wanted to give it to somebody who needed a car. You took it upon yourself to fix the car. You fixed it. You invested money in it.
But the car wasn't free. The title wasn't free. She just
It
got
is now free. Is
She
that
just
right?
got it free and
I
clear.
have
She
a
didn't have it
title.
in August.
Now she has the title free and clear. Do you want the car or nothing? Do you want the car or nothing?
The car, I mean, I put money into the car. I mean,
Do you want the car or nothing?
car.
Good. Take out the title. You'll take care of signing it over to Miss Taylor. Fine?
That's fine.
Good. Bird, have him sign over the title, please.
Okie dokie.
Perfect. Is the car at your home, Miss White?
Yes.
Okay. When do you want Miss Taylor to pick it up, or Crystal?
Anytime.
Fine. You're a doll, Miss White. You're a nice person.
Thank
It was a
you.
nice gesture.
Thank you.
This case stands for the proposition that no good deed goes unpunished. That's all. Thank you.
We've heard that
That's
all
all.
week.
We'll take care of all that. Pardon your excuse, you may step out.
Both of my girls are in good cars.
I want to help her daughter and be a good person and help her kid.
And a 2006 is what she's driving.
And then turn around and sue somebody for doing something nice.
And she doesn't need a piece of trash that Amanda White has.
Like she said, no good deed goes unpunished.
Croman is suing his ex-girlfriend, 25-year-old Jennifer Bach, for having him falsely arrested for domestic violence. Jennifer claims an angry Michael knocked her to the ground.
All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 490 on the calendar in the matter of Croman versus Bach. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Croman, the defendant is your former girlfriend. You and Miss Bach have a child together. And it is your claim that sometime in 2005, she filed false assault charges against you, which caused you to retain an attorney, lose wages, suffer. You want her to compensate you.
Correct.
Ms. Bach says she told the truth when she filed for this protective order. As a matter of fact, the protective order was granted to her for a year. She is counterclaiming because she says you're the one who continues to harass her, and she's going to tell me why. How old is your child?
She just turned 2 in January.
And when did this incident happen that formed the basis of the order of protection?
November 10th, 2005.
How long had you been separated at that point?
Almost 2.5 months.
Where did the incident occur?
In my house.
What time?
It was around 7 in the morning.
What were you doing at his house at 7 in the morning?
It wasn't 7, it was about 5:30. We had been out that evening, and he invited me back to his house, so we were at his house.
You had been out together in the evening?
Yes.
Is that right?
We met up later in the evening, yes.
Where?
At a bar.
Okay, so what happened at 5:30?
She had come back. We had been involved in a relationship for, a year and a half, and we had been intimate that night, and I had to go to work that morning. I was tired, I needed to get some sleep, so I asked her to leave. She did not want to leave. She basically wasn't satisfied and wanted me to continue. I told her I had to get some sleep. I asked her to leave. So that is when she left. When she left, she walked into the garage, knocked over a set of poker chips. I heard a loud noise, so I followed her. And at that time, she was walking out of the garage. I was tired. I wanted to get to sleep. I wanted to make sure she left. So I approached her. I wanted to put my hand on her. And as I did that, she turned into me. When that happened, she fell over. Immediately, I apologized and I asked to help her up. After about a minute, she let me help her up. I gave her a hug and apologized, and then I went inside and she got in her car.
All right, that's the basis for your application for a protective order, that incident?
Yes, but that's not how it happened.
Now you tell me your version of the incident.
Okay, we did get into the argument. I was leaving. I did knock off the poker chips off the table. I continued to keep walking. I never stopped at all. All of a sudden, he comes behind me, pushes me, and I fall from the garage onto the driveway. I fell on my complete left side. I was crying. He did not offer to help me up, did not apologize. I got up, I was crying. I asked him to apologize, and I left. I went home. I didn't tell anybody what happened. A couple days later, family members found out and told me to go file. So I went and filed charges on him.
Okay. So you filed for a protective order based upon this incident. And what happened when you went to court, Mr. Croman?
Well, actually, I was going out of town the following weekend, and she had driven by and found out that I was home. So she called the cops, and they came and picked me up. I spent the night in downtown.
Okay.
So I got a lawyer the next day. And when we went to court, the charges ended up being dismissed.
You say that there was a protective order issued for 1 year.
Correct. We went to court in December for a CPO, civil protection order. It's a permanent restraining order against the temporary restraining order, per se.
Right. Well,
So
what happened with that?
that was granted December 19th of 2005.
Can I see it, please?
Yes. I'm sorry, it's December 21st.
So in Ohio, you can have a civil protective order as opposed to a criminal proceeding pending.
Correct.
Okay. Well, Mr. Croman, you have already had a civil hearing on this matter, sir. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And the court in that hearing on December 19th, 2005, made findings. And one of the findings that the court made was that your actions caused her to be injured on November 10th, right?
Right.
Then you can't sue her, sir. I mean, if that's the incident that you're suing her over, you can't sue her.
They just basically said that there was no evidence supporting the facts that I caused those injuries. I have a couple of things, if I may.
Just a second,
Sure.
though. The court says, inasmuch as petitioner's testimony about hitting the driveway because of the respondent's conduct is in part corroborated by the respondent, that's you, the court finds that the petitioner is a credible witness on that topic. So the court credited her version of the events. I don't sit as an appellate court. For that court, the same burden of proof exists in the two courts. There's already been a finding in that court with regard to your conduct, sir. With regard to that, the matter is what we call in legalese raised judicata. I don't go back and look at facts again. They dismissed the case and sealed it criminally. Civilly, they found you liable, and they issued a civil protective order for a year. I'm prepared to hear what you have to say. If it's relevant, sir, I just told you what the law is. That's the law. We're not going to make new law here.
Okay.
You got it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay. Basically, the whole reason that I believe all of this came out is in October, a month prior, I had filed for custody.
Did you tell that to the judge?
Yes.
In this proceeding?
Yes.
So the judge heard you?
Following that, a month later, she filed for that motion.
No, that's not true, sir. You're missing something. You filed for custody in October. You got together November 10th. She fell outside on November 10th. That's intervening. Go.
That same week that the charges were filed, she also sent me an email stating that let's check to see if either of us have a criminal record. All of this in lieu of her trying to build up a case for custody since she knew I'd filed for custody.
Well, listen to me. Mr. Krollman, look at me. Just for my own information. Why did you file for custody in October, sir?
Because she would not let me see my daughter unless it was just to talk about us. It was only, I'll let you talk about us and then I'll let you see your daughter.
If that's true, terrible. Because she's got to understand this child has two parents, and the child is entitled to know both parents. She may not care for you anymore. That's not the child's problem. And sometimes women don't get that. They have to get it. Some judge has to tell them that those are the rules. However, sir, you filed for custody in October. You got together again in November. And I guarantee you that you said things in your application for custody that she didn't like, right?
Probably. I'm sure we both did.
And then she was trying to gather ammunition about you after you filed for custody, right?
Correct.
That's fair game, Mr. Krollman. So you have no case here because that's already been decided by another court. Now, you want to proceed with your counterclaim?
Yes.
I got 30 seconds to hear the nonsense.
Okay. Mr. Coleman is an alcoholic. He's obviously had disorderly conduct while intoxicated.
And how long have you known that?
Ever since I met him.
Well, that's your problem. That's your bad judgment, not only to hook up with somebody you say is an alcoholic, but to make a baby with them. But you did.
It's true.
And child is entitled to know both parents.
It's true.
Good. Now, let's go.
He had supervised visitation during this custody proceeding, and now he's not allowed in the bar as part of our agreement when he has her for visitation.
Fine. But he has her for visitation.
Correct.
Good. Which means that the court found that he was a reasonable enough guy to have unsupervised visits.
Correct.
Right? Despite what you said.
Correct.
So the court found that you were not a credible witness. Because
No.
when you had a trial on the issue of custody and visitation, did you have hearings with regard to custody and visitation?
Yes.
And were you opposed to him having unsupervised visits?
Yes.
The court did not believe you as to the reasons why, because the court ultimately granted him unsupervised visits.
We settled.
You only settled because your lawyer said he's going to get unsupervised visits. Listen, I was in the business 25 years. I know the game. If you thought you were winning, you wouldn't have settled. That's not the way women play the game.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's thrown things at me, broke a mirror, shoved me in the closet.
And yet you went to bed with him in November of 2005. You don't get points for genius.
True.
And later today,
You broke the banister in her house, then you got drunk, you fell down the stairs, you had to be taken to the hospital. Is any of that true, sir?
Not really.
How about a little piece of it?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Krollman claims ex-girlfriend Jennifer Buck had him falsely arrested for an assault. Jennifer is countersuing for emotional distress and harassment.
What else?
He harasses me. I had the restraining order, and this is the stack of emails he has sent me through then. I've caught him following me to the doctor's office where I take my daughter. He continues to sue me regardless of what's happening. I have 4 pending court cases outside of this court.
What are the 4 pending court cases?
He sued me for money when we were together. His mother's suing me for money.
Did his mother give you money?
Yeah, she paid a couple car payments for me.
So his mother gave you money.
Yes.
She's entitled to sue you for money. What other case?
We had a court case Monday, and he failed to show up. He was trying to get me in contempt of child support. He failed to show up. The judge dismissed
What do
it.
you mean he is trying to get you in contempt for child support? I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
We share medical bills, basically, so she hasn't paid me half the medical bills, so I took it to court.
Have you paid the medical bills you're supposed to?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
Oh, well, then I assume that the case would be dismissed and probably with prejudice.
He wanted medical payments up until the time she was born. So since we were together up until she was 9 months old, the judge didn't see that was appropriate.
Keep going. What are the other lawsuits? You said 4.
Right. So we had the court case on Monday, the 2 lawsuits that his mother and him have against me, and then we have another one objecting an administrative hearing where I get to claim her on tax exemptions every year.
Okay. How much do you pay for child support?
I was paying $204 every 2 weeks.
And who do you live with?
I live by myself with my daughter.
And you work?
Yes.
Who pays for daycare?
I do.
Solely?
Yes.
What does it cost you for daycare?
$380 a month.
Well, Mr. Coleman, if I were judge hearing the case and you were paying $100 a week support and she's paying for daycare, I wouldn't let you claim the child as a tax deduction either. I'm just telling you, that's gratuitous advice. If she's paying $380 for child care a month and she lives by herself with her child and half of all of the expenses are attributed to the child, then your $100 a week doesn't cut it for 50% of support. So I would just gratuitously give up on that one. Listen, the fact that you don't like each other anymore is unfortunate. If you liked each other, you'd still be together. You did a very dumb thing in making a child together. You picked the guy who you say is an alcoholic. Not too swift, but he's yours. And he's your daughter's. And he's entitled to see her. And she's the mother of your child. And she's with her a lot, Mr. Coleman. And if you were a nice guy, you wouldn't want to stress out the person whose primary responsibility it is to take care of your child. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you do that, it's just vindictive, not smart, and certainly not in your daughter's best interest. I'm just telling you, just not smart. It's petty and stupid. The fact that she filed for this protective order, nonsense. It was nonsense. I know what happened. She went like this. She didn't accidentally dump your poker chips. She went like that. She was angry. She knows it. I know it. She knows that I know it. That doesn't give you license to push her, which you did. Does it require a protective order? Were there other acts of violence in your relationship? I don't know the answer to that question. It's over. Put a period. Move on positively. You have to live together for the next 16 years. They can either be happy 16 years or miserable 16 years. Your child is 2, right?
Right.
It's up to you. You're both young people. You have a chance to move on and be happy.
Can I add something, Your Honor?
Yes.
Because of things that have happened in the past, that was the first time that I've filed anything. I've called the cops several times. He's taken my daughter. I've had to call the cops to get her back from his mother. He's thrown things at me, broke a mirror, shoved me in the closet. I had to call the cops when we went on vacation.
Was this all before November of 2005?
Yes, it was.
And yet you went to bed with him in November of 2005. You met him up at a bar. Nobody grabbed you and brought you back to the house, right?
True.
Okay. You don't get points for genius.
True.
Goodbye.
True.
Parties are
Cases are
excused.
dismissed.
You may step out.
I hope that she can get over the petty drama.
I hope he can get out of the bar, stop drinking.
And she can actually set a good example and be a good role model for her daughter.
Be a responsible father and keep her number 1.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Pittman Page versus Pittman, step forward.
Deborah Pittman Page is suing her nephew, 21-year-old Chad Pittman, for a loan to get his car insured and for the cost to get the vehicle out of impound.
Miss Page, did you ever hear the saying, no good deed goes unpunished?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
This is your nephew.
Yes, it is.
According to your complaint, he fell on some hard times.
Correct.
And you offered to advance him the money to pay his car insurance.
Correct.
And he was supposed to pay you back.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you pay his insurance?
April 11th of 2006.
And how was he supposed to make the payments to you?
He was just starting a new job, and so he thought he could go ahead and pay me then. So he was living at home with his father and his stepmom.
Is that your brother?
Yes. So they had said that he had to have a registered and insured vehicle in order to move back in home. And so that's why we did this. And I paid the insurance company. I wrote a check for $1,432, and then he gave me $432 that he had. That way he was able to get registered and insured, and he moved back in.
And how many payments did he make?
Well, he paid the $432 initially, and then he paid another $100, and then about 6 months later he paid me $60.
Okay, young man, now tell me what happened.
What happened was...
Don't listen. Don't look down.
What happened was On the 12th of April, she did write a check. I did give her the $480.
We're past that. She
Okay.
wrote the check. You gave her $432, leaving a $1,000 balance. You paid her another $160 over a period of time.
No.
You didn't pay her anything.
I gave her more than $160.
Okay, how much did you give her, sir?
I brought the payment down to $840, which means I paid her
$160.
$160. Okay, so I was wrong. I got arrested.
No. Look here. You got
I got arrested.
when?
I got arrested on November 7th.
So between April 12th and November 7th, you gave her a total of $160.
Correct.
Why
But
is
in between times, I didn't have a job. I told her that I'll give you the money, but I also have to support myself at the same time. So I wasn't always able to give her as much as she had expected.
Well, how about anything?
Oh, I would give her something.
No, you didn't. You gave her $160. April, May, June, July, August, September, October, in 7 months.
In
7 months, if you gave her, let's say, $5 a week, which, look at me, look at me. It means going one less time to McDonald's, sir. It means getting one less Frosty Freeze. On the 7th of November, you got arrested for what and where?
I got arrested in Amesbury, Massachusetts for possession of a firearm, a Class D substance.
What was the substance?
Weed.
Marijuana?
Yes. With the FID numbers filed off, and...
The FID numbers filed off the marijuana or the firearm?
No, the firearm. And then I was brought into Middleton.
You were stopped in your car?
Yeah.
The car that your aunt had insured?
Yes. And then it was impounded.
It was?
Oh, yeah, it was. It got impounded. She went to the impound.
Just a second. How did she find out that your car was impounded?
Because my dad had found out that I was arrested. She found out she wanted the car to take out, get the license plates off, turn them in, collect the past due, not the past due, but the amount
the
for
balance of the
cancellation.
insurance.
Exactly.
So that she would at least have some money back.
Right. But she also wanted me to pay the $210. She also has my...
$210 for what?
For getting the car out of the impound.
Didn't you want the car anymore?
It didn't matter to me either way. I was going to be in Middleton for more than a year, so...
Listen to me. So at that point, it didn't matter to you that the car was an impound. What kind of car is this?
96 Ford Contour.
So you didn't care whether the car was an impound. As far as you were concerned, they could have turned it into a toaster.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But didn't you understand, sir, that by letting the car remain there, your aunt was stuck with this $840 payment that you owed her?
I had full intention on paying her, but I couldn't justify why am I paying her? She has my car, she has my title, threatened to forge my signature on my title, said that she could get $1,300 at a junkyard for it, tried signing it. She didn't seem to want either, so I just was like, well, make up your mind.
Can you get any money for his car?
It turns out that in Massachusetts you have to have an inspection sticker, and the car had already been rejected, so it had a rejection sticker on there because it needed some taillights, it needed some other underneath work, but I wasn't sure exactly what. But it also had a cracked windshield, so that was another $200 and some odd. So it turns out that the car wasn't worth what the Kelley Blue Book value on it was. So when he wanted to change the deal and just sign that over to me and say, well, you get to sell the car for whatever, he couldn't understand that I didn't want to deal with selling the car, plus the car wasn't worth the money, and so I wanted him still to pay me the money he owed me. And he
Fabulous.
just didn't
Where
understand.
is the car now?
It's in the parking lot of my parents' house.
Where's the title to the car?
I have the title here.
May I have it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, he gave you the title, I assume, because you indicate that in your complaint, to hold as collateral.
Correct.
Mr. Pittman, Chad.
Yes.
That would be you, right?
That's me.
Guess what I have for you, Chad?
A title?
You know how quick and clever he is?
Sharp as a bowling ball.
Sharp as a bowling ball. Now you have the car. She wants her $840 and what she spent to get it out of impound.
I didn't ask her to get it out of impound. She went out to get it by herself.
Well,
I
let
was
me
in
ask you
Middleton
this
at
question,
the time.
Mr. Pittman. Let's follow your logic, sir. We're now talking about a substantial amount of time later, 10 months. Ultimately, you were going to either get your car back or be stuck with paying her $840. What I'm giving you the opportunity to do is to take the car now that you have the title, and you can sell it. Maybe you can sell it for junk. Maybe you can get $200 for it. Maybe you can get $300 for it. Or you can sign the car over to her. Do you understand?
Yeah, that was
Sign the car
original-
over to her, and you're still going to pay her $840. I'm going to see how smart a boy you are. You can either sign the car over to her now and pay her $840, or you can keep the car and pay her $840. What would you like to do?
Well, I'll keep the car. I'll give her the $840.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you
good.
very much, in addition to the towing. You got it?
Gotcha.
Perfect. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,050.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
you guys do, you may step out.
We had a gentleman's agreement, so to speak, and he didn't want to comply with it.
She decided that it was necessary to grab my arm and punch me in the chest and whatnot.
I did hit him in the chest. I was trying to get the title back. He had it all balled up in his hands.
I told her she couldn't have the title back until she let go of my arm, so she decided to punch me in the chest.
He's bigger than me, so I climbed up on him and grabbed his arm and hit him and said, "Give it back," and then pried it out of his fingers.
I threw the title, walked out, runs to the door. You're nothing but a piece of... Hope you rot in jail for the rest of your life. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, see you later. Love you too.
You shouldn't have to do that. You expect more out of your family.
It's family. Family is family. I never expected to be going on the Judge Judy show with family against family. I would never do anything to hurt my family. It is family.
I'm sure that time heals all wounds.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Tennant versus Holly. Step forward.
Carolyn Tennant is suing her son's friend, 22-year-old Jeffrey Holly, for stealing her golf cart and damaging it while driving drunk.
Miss Tennant, this young man was a friend of your son's?
Yes, ma'am.
You all went camping together?
Yes, ma'am.
And you had a golf cart that sort of takes you to and from, I guess,
Yeah.
a lake or shopping or whatever.
Well, it's like the major mode of transportation out there.
And other people have golf carts. Mr. Holly took your golf cart without your permission.
Correct.
And he was drunk.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And he had an accident.
Yes.
Your golf cart was damaged.
Correct.
And the golf cart of the other people was damaged.
Yes, ma'am.
The other people sued you as the golf cart owner.
Yes.
Successfully.
Yes.
And do you believe that Mr. Holly has the responsibility of compensating you for both that judgment
Yes.
and the damage to your golf cart?
Correct.
Mr. Holly says that it wasn't his fault
Yes, ma'am.
and he should have been able to go to court and prove that, and since he didn't have that opportunity because you proceeded without him, he's not responsible. Did I identify your position, Mr. Holly?
Yes, ma'am, you did.
I have to find out a little bit about you, sir. Age,
Age 22.
occupation,
Basement waterproofing and foundation wall rebuilds.
number of times arrested.
Since I turned 18, 3 times.
For what?
Disorderly conduct, a malicious assault, and unauthorized use of heavy equipment.
Were you drinking during any one of those 3 arrests?
Yes, ma'am, the disorderly conduct.
Now, have you ever had convictions for any of those things?
Yes, ma'am.
Ever go to jail?
Yes, ma'am.
For how long?
I did 1 week and then I got out on a signature bond.
Are those cases over?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Holly, you and booze don't get along, sir.
Yes, I agree, ma'am.
You want to tell me what happened with Miss Tennant's golf cart?
Yes, ma'am, I do. That night, it was Memorial Weekend, and there was a bunch of us out there together, and, everybody being of age recently, we all decided, we were going to get drunk and have a good time. They have dances at the barn, whatnot.
You know that you don't have a good time when you get drunk.
Yeah, I'm starting
You
to realize
really understand
that,
that. Most of the time you don't remember. Most of the time you act stupid. Most of the time you get sick afterwards. You really have a much better time if you're sober. That doesn't mean you can't drink. That just means that you have a better time if you're not drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
But you got drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
And?
And I decided to take the golf cart keys from the top of the fridge. Because, I figured, there was people driving it all day and most of the night. I figured, why not? We were just going to go around the block and come right back. There was another golf cart passing filled with some people that lived down at the next camper down. And I thought they were going to stop, and I guess they thought I was going to stop, and it didn't work out that way.
So?
So I ran into the side of them, They proceeded to get off the golf cart and just completely make an enormous deal of it. I mean, they're golf carts. They don't go over 10 miles an hour.
No, they go faster than that.
And during all this, I mean, everything started getting out of control. People were yelling at each other. One of the ladies on the golf cart, her fiance, decided to sucker punch me. Then I was held from defending myself once I found out in that township I could legally defend myself once somebody put their hands on me. I was held from defending myself, and I mean, why couldn't I get any, closure on that? Because I did make a police report on it, and I figured
You wanted closure. Tell me how you wanted to get closure.
We were going to make a deal. My brother was going to give the guy $1,500 for his golf cart.
No. I'm talking about you wanted to get closure from being sucker punched, you said.
Yeah, either a chance to defend myself at that moment in time
to
or...
punch him? You wanted to punch him back?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were prohibited from doing that. How, sir?
Because Alan Reining grabbed me and basically pushed me backwards and bear hugged me and wouldn't let me.
Wouldn't let you punch him back?
Yes, ma'am.
And that would have given you closure?
Yes, ma'am.
You've been watching too many psychological programs that seem to be proliferating in daytime television, sir. Not everything gives you closure. You usually refer to the fact that you want closure when somebody in your family dies. You go and visit them and you say, now I have closure. I've seen them, I've said goodbye. Closure is not usually a thing that one refers to, punching somebody back. That doesn't give you closure. Mr. Holly, you're a very polite young man. Do I make you nervous?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that why you're sweating?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Did it make you nervous when you appeared before the other judges?
Not really.
But I scare you.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a really, really good thing. I've not had a particularly good day today. That is the only thing that's made my day today. The fact that I make you nervous enough to sweat. You owe Mrs. Tennant money. You owe her the money that she spent or will spend to fix her golf cart. And you owe her the judgment that was entered against her for the accident you had when you took her golf cart without permission. Because if you go back, Mr. Holly, these are the objective facts. I'm not going to really scream and yell at you because you've been so polite. I'm going to say it easily so you can get my drift. A, you were drunk. You should never have gotten behind the wheel of any instrument that was moving because you weren't exercising good judgment. B, you got behind the wheel of it without permission. So in effect, you stole it. You had an accident. You're responsible to reimburse her for any out-of-pocket expenses that she had. And her out-of-pocket expenses were?
$1,782.50.
$1,782.
And 50 cents.
And 50 cents. That's your liability, Mr. Holly. That's your legal responsibility. And if you don't want to incur that kind of obligation, you're not supposed to get drunk and act stupid so that you really don't know what's going on. You're not supposed to take people's property without permission. You're not supposed to get behind something that goes even 10 miles an hour when you're drunk. All of those things you did. Just say, it's going to make you feel better, and you're going to stop sweating. It's my fault.
Really,
it's my fault. I was drunk. I took your property. I caused you aggravation. I'm sorry. I will make you whole. And if you can't do that, Mr. Holly, I will. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,782.50. That's all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Why is our excuse? You may step out.
I think that she just did a wonderful job.
I mean, I'm a little, upset about it.
Used poor judgment and not trying to pay me back.
I do have an alcohol problem. I can admit to that.
And somebody that's not responsible is not welcome.
I have land all over the place I can go.
No, he is no longer welcome back. No.
I make $15 an hour. I mean, I'll pay it, have it done out the way, and I can go somewhere else.
David and Janelle Rennie are suing Janelle's son, Keith Harvey, for car payments on a Ford Explorer and for a series of unpaid loans to help him get back on his feet.
All rise. That's case number 447 on calendar in the matter of Rennie versus Harvey. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mrs. Rennie, this is your son and your stepson, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Rennie, it is your claim that Mr. Harvey owes you and your wife money for a series of loans that you made to him. And in addition, he owes you money for taking care of his 11-year-old son, who he left with you when he moved out.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harvey says that you volunteered to take care of his son and that this money that both you and his mother gave him were gifts. That's your defense. And you're sticking to it.
Yes, Your Honor.
How old are you?
32.
How many children do you have?
3.
How many live with you?
2.
How old are they?
5 and 3 months.
Is the mother of the 2 children also living with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you separated from her for a period of time?
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
Well, it's 5, 6 months.
And how much after you got back together again did she become pregnant?
How much long?
Immediately.
You moved
Yes.
back together when?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, what? I know that you moved back together. When is the question?
Trying to think.
You were living with your mother and a husband, with your 11-year-old son. Where's his mother?
She lives in Jacksonville, Florida.
Anything wrong with her?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have legal custody of him?
No, Your Honor.
Who does?
She does.
Well, why was he living with you? These are not hard questions, sir. You should be able to give me a quick answer.
She's a deadbeat mother.
Well, deadbeat mother means she doesn't pay any support. That's
She doesn't
different.
pay any support.
If she has legal custody, she's supposed to have him with her.
Yes, Your Honor.
But he wasn't with his mother. He was with you. My question was why?
Because his mother's home got burglarized, and I felt it was unsafe for him to live there.
So when did you take him?
I can't think exact the timing.
What year?
It was 2006.
She have other children?
Yes, she does.
Did she ask you to come and take him?
Well, I thought it was best in his interest.
I didn't ask you what you felt. I asked if his mother, who was his custodian, asked you to come and take him.
Yes, she did.
She did? Is that
Yes,
right?
she did. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if he's not thinking right.
She demanded someone come get him.
In what month in 2006 did...
It was actually 2005. It was September.
And he came and brought his son to you?
In the beginning, his son lived with my daughter, his sister, and then in January 2006, he brought him into the home with us because my daughter can no longer take care of him.
Is he a problem?
He isn't with us, but he's very argumentative, and I think it's just the way he's been, from going back and forth. And his mother is not a very good mother. She never gave him a lot of attention and stuff, so he can be difficult.
Well, when you have 2 non-parents, it's hard to grow up yourself.
That's exactly right.
I'm just curious, Mr. Harvey. Well, you don't know dates. Your mother will tell me. When did he move out of your house?
He actually physically moved out of our house in February '06.
Leaving his son with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he still there?
He's still there.
How's he doing?
He's doing great.
Why don't you just keep him there?
I think that's what we're going to do.
Have you gone to court for custody?
Yes, ma'am. We have temporary guardianship and custody right now until the juvenile district makes it permanent. And that can be any time now.
Who pays support for him?
No one at this time.
Not him?
His father was paying support up until July of '06, which automatically comes out of his paycheck and goes through the court system. And the mother was receiving it, and she was keeping it. She was not giving it to us for the child. I have an appointment through child support recovery. We've already did one appointment. They're going in front of the judge, actually.
You are?
Child, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you should get that money retroactively.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So I don't have to deal with that. Look at how this is nice. It's going to be coming out of his pay retroactively to the day he stopped paying child support.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, perfect. So now we can move on to the other loans. Now, tell me about the other money, Mr. Rennie.
Good morning, ma'am. We financed a vehicle for him. When he went to jail in 2004...
What did he go to jail for?
Domestic violence charge.
Against whom?
The girlfriend he's living with currently. The vehicle was refinanced at that time. The payments went on. He was making the payments. The June payment was not made. The June payment came out of my son's 13-year-old savings account because our bank takes it from where there's money. July's payment, he made half of. And he came to us in July and said, I'm going to be getting my own place in August. So we said, contingent, you were supposed to come take your son in August to come live with you. School starts and he can be in the house and all that good stuff. August came, and I went to bring him there, and he refused him. He told his son, I can't take you, I can't afford you right now, so rather than make a stink, we just
That's what you told your son?
I didn't refuse him. I told them that the timing wasn't right at the time, and as soon as I get on my feet, he'll be living with me. I was just trying to get ahead, Your Honor.
You don't get ahead by making another baby. You got enough babies. You had enough babies before you had this one. How many car payments did you make for him?
We made June's, the other half of July's, and August and September.
What arrangements did you make with him to repay you?
He'd been paying it all up until that point.
I understand that, sir. But once you pay, unless you have a contract with him to repay you, that's a gift. What about the car payments, sir? Why didn't you make the car payments? Too busy making a baby?
No, Your Honor.
Well, what were you busy doing, sir, instead of making your car payments? You were using the car, weren't you?
I've given my mom tax money out of my taxes, which I think should clear up that debt.
When?
It was in a period of 2 years.
When, I said?
In 2004, 2005.
Listen to me. Money out of your taxes 3 years ago, I'm not interested in. I'm interested in car payments that they made for you in 2006, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why didn't you make your own car payments?
I got behind on it.
What were you doing with the money?
Paying rent.
And what was your girlfriend doing? Nothing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Time you grew up, sir, you made 3 children in your life. That makes you a big boy. Act like a big boy. Don't act like an idiot.
And later today,
Let's talk about the purple bedroom.
She said purple, but it's very dark.
I'd start painting if I were you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. David and Janelle Rennie claim Janelle's son, Keith Harvey, owes for car payments, insurance payments, parking tickets, and a loan for rent.
Okay. What else, Mr. Rennie?
Car insurance from February to August of 06 was not paid, in total about $600.
Well, why did you pay for the insurance? Why didn't you just cancel the insurance, put a boot on the car?
The insurance was on our policy, and we were just trying to help him.
I understand that, but he didn't pay it. So why didn't you just go repossess the car?
We figured having a car was necessary to have a job to take care of the children. We tried to help every step of the way.
I understand that. That's a gift, not a loan.
Well, we had to improve his policy on the car because he's a courier. So we had to add extra stuff. So he came to us.
And said what?
And said, Mom, David, I need you to add these extra coverages so that I'm covered under my job. And I will pay the insurance.
But he didn't.
But he didn't.
So why did you continue to pay it?
Well, we canceled that in August.
In August.
Good.
So for July and August, we added more coverage.
Okay, and how much was the additional coverage for July and August?
It was an extra $40 a month.
What else?
In September of 06, my wife received a call from the police department. The vehicle was downtown.
Shh. You had the discussion with the police?
Yes, ma'am.
As a result of that discussion, what did you do?
His girlfriend was driving the truck. She had gotten numerous amount of parking tickets, which we didn't know, and they had put a boot on the automobile.
Sounds perfect to me.
So I had to meet the police officers downtown to keep the car from being towed into the lot and having to pay extra storage fees and stuff. Had to pay the tickets and got the truck released back to us.
So where's the truck now?
We have it.
Perfect. So you have it. You have another car?
Yes, Your Honor.
From where did you get another car?
Honda?
When?
3 months ago.
Where'd you get the money from? Why are you looking at me like I'm speaking some sort of foreign tongue?
I didn't need any money down. My sister helped me out, and she co-signed for the car.
Your sister?
Yes, Your Honor.
That your daughter?
Yes, ma'am. We tried to talk to her. We told her, we still have the payments from the truck that we financed. It's $320 a month car payment. We still have to make that payment.
What else?
The tickets totaled $412. And in August, my wife loaned him money for his first month's rent of $980.
Why did you do that?
And I don't know why I did it. He calls me, makes me feel bad. So I met him and I helped him.
I assume by now you've learned your lesson.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you tell your mother you would pay her back the rent money?
No, Your Honor.
You didn't. What did you tell her?
She told me she'd help me out at the time.
Were you working?
Yes, Your Honor.
Who were you working for?
Courier service.
And how much were you earning?
Roughly $700 a week.
And your girlfriend?
She doesn't work right now.
Why not?
Because my son's only 3 months old.
Well, when you're not working and you're home, you take care of your son, let your girlfriend go out to work.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's not a try. That's what you have to do. Time you grew up, sir, you made 3 children in your life. 3. That makes you a big boy. Act like a big boy. Don't act like an idiot. And I don't know if you're doing a stupid act with me or if this is really the way you are. I'm not sure. But I know that you owe your mother and your stepfather $1,472. That's all. Step out.
What is our excuse? You may step out.
I'm very disappointed in my son. I don't like being in court against my child.
She made me look like a fool out there, and I'm not.
We put him in our house for 2 years, and the promise was, I'm going to get a second job. I'm going to fix myself.
Hey, we're trying our hardest, working hard.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of X-Line versus Pace. Step forward.
Laurel X-Line is suing her son, 21-year-old Derek Pace, for damaging her four-wheeler. Derek claims the damage occurred due to mechanical failure.
Miss X-Line, the defendant is your son.
Yes, ma'am.
And your lawsuit claims that he came out for a visit. You live in where?
Show Low, Arizona.
And you come from?
Texas, Del Rio.
So he traveled from Texas to Arizona for a visit.
Yes, ma'am.
And when he got there, he rode a four-wheeler.
Yes, ma'am.
That you bought, and it is your claim that he broke it. You want him to pay to have it fixed.
Yes, ma'am.
Your son says that he didn't break it. It was already broken, he thinks. But certainly he didn't break it. And he's counterclaiming because he says he was so uncomfortable and it was so tense after he had this accident on the four-wheeler that he went home, and he wants you to pay the expenses for his travel round trip because he didn't have a good time. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you both nuts? Are you really both crazy?
No, ma'am, it's more about responsibility and respect. I mean, when they came back with the four-wheeler, I have MS, and I was diagnosed 3 years ago, and that four-wheeler is my lifeline. I use that four-wheeler for everything. I use it to feed my horse. I use it to water my horse.
Then you shouldn't have let him ride it. Miss X-Line, how many children do you have?
One.
You have one child that
Yes.
you're suing? I mean, I quite frankly, I don't get it. I mean, my children have taken my cars and had accidents. I had a story once, Miss X-Line. One of my children, after the car went over an embankment into a little ditch, tried to tell me that the earth opened up because of severe rain. And that's how the car slid down the side of the road. You know that child. It didn't work. I mean, the story didn't work, but I didn't sue him. I mean, I used that car to get to work, and I really needed it as my lifeline. But it would never dawn on me over this kind of thing to sue a child.
I think it was all the attitude that was taken when it happened. Like that it was nothing, it was not his fault, it was not his responsibility. Why was I crying? It was
He
just
said
a
it
big...
wasn't his fault.
Right.
He didn't say it wasn't his responsibility. He said it wasn't his fault. That
Well, he
do
didn't
anything
feel like it was his responsibility either.
Because he says in his answer that he didn't do anything to cause the damage to the four-wheeler.
Well, I have photos here of when they took off on the four-wheeler the day they took off. And I have photos of when it was taken off to the repair shop.
Well, of course, because there was an accident with it, but he said he didn't cause the accident. The accident happened as a result of a mechanical defect.
Well, I think you can look at the pictures and it will tell the story.
I don't think it's going to tell the story, madam, but I want your son to tell me what happened when you took out the four-wheeler.
Well, we took it out. We got there the night previously, and the next morning we woke up and she told us that she wanted to take her four-wheeler out and take it up in the mountains, go see the snow and all that kind of stuff. So we took it out, and we realized we were kind of running out of gas. We were trying to find the road because we'd lost our way on the way back through the mountains. And then I realized that the back wheel was you could feel the back end of the four-wheeler sliding. And I stopped to look at it, and the back wheel, the axle had broken off, and the wheel was messed up.
Is it possible that you went over a rock? Is that possible?
It's possible.
Possible you went over a log?
Possible.
Is it possible that as a result of doing that, the axle broke? It's possible.
Possible.
Sure, a lot of things are possible. Is it
If I
possible?
borrowed your car, I would fix it if I tore it up.
Well, if I borrowed your car and through no fault of my own that I knew about, that I was aware of, something happened mechanically and I was in an accident and I was injured, I would sue you. And you better have insurance on that car. So unless you have, Miss X-Line, some proof, and that would have to be by virtue of someone who was an expert in four-wheelers, that something that this young man did caused that damage.
I have a statement.
I don't take statements.
I have the photos of before and after.
I'll take a look at the photos.
This is them when they were starting out on their journey. And then that was after it was damaged. He has entirely his whole life, he's the only child, and I did not pursue my career. I was in the military for 8 years, and I did not pursue my career when I got out of the military to be at home with him and spend time with him and to be a good mother. And he was in private schools. He had the best of everything, and I think that it's time that he takes responsibility for his actions.
Miss X-Line, you don't get payback from children for doing the right thing. That's what you're supposed to do as a mother. You're supposed to sacrifice and make sure that your children have things that you didn't have, and make sure that they have a better education than you had. And if it involved you staying home, not having a career, that doesn't necessarily make you a better mother than somebody who works, has a career, and tries to be a good mother at the same time. So you don't get payback for whatever sacrifices you think you made for your children. I certainly would never, and certainly under these circumstances where I have no proof that this was caused by something other than a defect in the four-wheeler that happened serendipitously at the time that he drove it. And it may have been that they went over a rock. But certainly they didn't purposely do anything. He doesn't look like a nut. Do anything to put themselves and his wife in harm's way. I don't know what your problem is. But I'm speaking. But your problem should not be resolved in a court. Now, Mr. Pace, if you weren't having a good time at your mother's house, you had several options. You could leave, or you could not leave. You also don't bring that sort of nonsense to a court. Courts are very busy. Certain things have to be left to be resolved within a family. This is one of them. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think it was a fair decision.
I think it's ridiculous. I think he should pay.
Like I told her before, she bought it, the four-wheeler extremely cheap, and I told her if you get a good deal on something, it might not always be the best for your money.
If you borrow something and you tear it up, you ought to pay.
We stopped on the road, and we had no way to get back. We were in the middle of nowhere, so we had to hitch a ride home.
He called me on the phone and said, Mom, the wheel is crooked.
We were going to go pick it back up. She didn't want us to use her truck to go get it, so we had to take the neighbor to go get it, pick it up.
I use that four-wheeler every day. I've used it for everything. It's constantly in use, and it's not for recreational use. It's for work.
I think it's ridiculous, too. I think the whole situation's just, it should have never happened.
I told her before that I thought something was wrong with it. I probably should have never rode it.
The four-wheeler's already broke when we rode it, and we shouldn't have rode it, but it shouldn't be our responsibility to fix it.
I think we'll be able to work it out between us and figure out something to do.
Him paying for the four-wheeler. That's the bottom line.
It's sad because they should have a really, really close, relationship, and this big mess has just come between us.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Harris versus Bianco. Step forward.
Christopher Harris and his son, 13-year-old Darwan Pallone, are suing 13-year-old Dre Collins and his mother, Stephanie Bianco, for the cost of a windshield. Darwan claims Dre was dancing on top of the car.
Mr. Harris, when I walked out into the courtroom and I saw the people who were here, I had to smile. Because when you submit your complaint and your answer to the court, sometimes we see a mental image of what the people in the case look like. And I pictured very little boys, who were playing around in the backyard and decided to jump up on somebody's car and do a dance, Right. Because that's what this case is about. You claim that this young man jumped on the hood or the roof of your car doing a stupid dance and cracked the windshield. Right? Your defense is you're not sure he's responsible for the windshield being cracked, even though he admits that he was dancing on the car, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm sort of apologizing to you, because I had this mental image that I was going to come out here, Mr. Harris, and yell at you and say, listen, these little kids, 3, 4 years old, jumping on the top of a car, you should have been there to supervise them. And then I come out and I see this person who looks like he's old enough to be in the military. Right? Bigger than his mother. And I say to myself, what would prompt somebody of your size and girth to jump up on top of somebody else's car and dance? Speak!
I don't know. We were just having fun, messing around.
I'm not interested in what was in anybody else's mind, sir. I want to know what was in your alleged mind.
No, we're just having fun.
So you were having fun?
Yeah.
Try yes.
Yes.
Who was this?
Stepdad.
Does he have a car?
Yes.
When was the last time you had fun on his car?
Never.
Never. I wouldn't have fun on his car. Let me ask you a question, sir. Could you stand up for a moment, please? Your last name is?
Elmore.
What would be his last living act if you found him doing a wee-wee dance on the hood of your car?
Oh, wow, he'd be beat to a post.
That's why you didn't dance on his car.
Yeah.
And your mother's a lot shorter than you are, right? She probably weighs a little less than you do. You wouldn't jump on her car and do a little dance to make you happy, would you?
No.
Because as big as you are and as little as she is, she'll kill you.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Damaging other people's property isn't having fun. So his windshield on his car was cracked, and whether you did it or one of your idiot friends did it, I don't care. You pay for it. You got it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Can I see a bill for the windshield, please? How many other idiots were on the roof dancing?
One. Just me.
One other.
One other, yeah.
One other.
Idiot.
Who was the other idiot?
Marcel.
Who's
Oh,
Marcel?
no.
Sorry about that.
Hey, I was not standing on. I'm sorry about
Listen.
that.
You know what you should. First of all, you would have been able to contain yourself if your shirt was tucked in.
I'm sorry.
Good. Now you can stand up quietly, orderly. Aren't you sorry you didn't tuck your shirt in? No, you didn't. Don't do it now. Were you dancing on the roof?
No.
Good. Sit down. He's too thin to break the windshield on the car. You owe him an apology.
Sorry.
$199 judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I feel like he was on the car and the windshield possibly could have gotten cracked.
You don't teach your kids at home that you're not supposed to jump on other people's property as opposed to doing it to your own property, then he still has a lot to learn.
And now the next case.
All litigants involved in the case of Herrera versus Ponce, step forward, please.
27-year-old Sabrina Herrera is suing her mother, Christina Ponce, for the return of car payments on a 91 Camry. Sabrina says her mother illegally repossessed the vehicle.
Ms. Herrera, this is your mom.
Mm-hmm.
According to what I read in your complaint, you purchased a car. It was titled in your mother's name. She paid for the car.
No.
She didn't put down any money on the car.
No.
Did you put down any money on the car?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
How much did you put down on the car?
$1,000.
Okay, and this was your agreement. Your agreement was for it to really be your car. You were going to make the monthly payments on the car.
Right.
Even though the car was titled in your mother's name. But it was your car, and as soon as the monthly payments were completed, the car would be yours, the title would be yours.
Right.
At some point, you and your mother had a falling out.
Right.
You had made all the payments on the car.
Right.
Your mother doesn't dispute that. You had a falling out, you'll tell me why. It was something over your daughter.
Right.
And your mother took back the car.
Right.
So you want your mom to give you back all the money that you put into it because she breached the contract she had with you.
Right.
You look at me as if I'm not talking.
I'm sorry.
Okay. So that's what the case is about. Your mother says that you did, in fact, breach the contract with her because she allowed this car to be purchased in her name, using her credit. The car was for you and for her grandchildren. And she was annoyed that, A, you were disrespectful to her when you had this argument over your daughter, and B, she saw the boyfriend. I assume that that's the boyfriend.
That's my
driving,
husband.
Or husband. Well, it's a new husband, right?
Got married in April.
She was annoyed because she saw him driving the car. And he wasn't supposed to be driving the car. It was just for you. Okay. Now you're going to tell me when you took back the car and under what circumstances, Miss Ponce.
Okay, when I bought my daughter the car, she was a single parent with 2 kids. I never knew that she got married. And I paid for the insurance. I went in there. I went to the credit union. I put the money down. What she did is the previous car I owned, I gave to her for her and my grandkids. As soon as she sold that car, she put the rest of the money on the car payment. Now, I was telling her not to be letting him drive the car. I have the insurance in my name. I've been paying the insurance payment since I got the car for her. He has no insurance. He had no license. And every time I seen him drive it, I would just tell her, Sabrina, he's not supposed to be driving.
How do you know he has no license?
Well, because my daughter said, being that he has kids, the judge took the license away because of child support. And being...
Stand up. Take out your wallet. Open your wallet. Take out your driver's license.
I don't have a license.
Sit down. Why did you let him drive the car without a driver's license?
He has a permit.
Stand up. Go over there. Take out the permit.
It's in there.
See it?
I have it. I obviously didn't put it in the files.
Listen to me. You don't have it here to show me. You don't have it. When the state takes away your driver's license because you failed to pay child support, they take it away because they want to punish you. They don't take it away and give you authorization to drive, especially when your mother's covering the car on her insurance. I was very sympathetic to you, I have to tell you. When I read this, I was about to say to you, you can't take the car away because the boyfriend was driving the car. She's making her monthly payments. She's entitled to, allow a boyfriend to drive her car occasionally or a friend to drive as long as the person has a license and is acting responsibly. But you can't let somebody without a driver's license drive your car. Can't do it.
Yeah, but he has a permit.
Listen to me. When the state takes away your driver's license because you failed to pay child support, they take it away so that you can't drive a car.
But she never even cared before about that.
Now she cares.
Now she cares.
Now she cares. I'm getting less sympathetic with you. Let's get to this incident. Then, Miss Ponce, you say, you were babysitting for your granddaughter?
Yeah, my granddaughter, she means a lot to me. And she came to spend the weekend with me. And that day I had to work. I'm a caterer. I work pretty much a lot. And we went shopping. When we got back, my granddaughter was eating. She broke her tooth. And when she broke her tooth, I called my daughter up and I told her, Sabrine, you have to take Destiny to the dentist, that she's crying because her tooth was hanging. And she says, well, I don't have time, I'm leaving. And I'm going, well, where are you going? And she says, we're going to go out to eat. And I go, well, can't you just take Jessie, through a drive-through and you take your daughter to the dentist? And she said, no. She says, we want to sit down and eat. And then I said, well, you know what? You got your priorities mixed up. Don't ever have any more kids if you can't take care of my baby girl.
Perfect.
Then she told me, she goes, well, you know what? She goes, I'm going to take her to the dentist. But she goes, then I'm going to come and get her. But you're not allowed to see her no more. Don't call her. And don't even... And see, I can't. My baby girl means everything to me.
How old is she?
She's 7.
Have you seen her since?
Yeah, she allowed her to come with me on Thanksgiving.
Great. Okay.
Well, the thing is that she called me up and she told me that my daughter broke her tooth. I asked her, can you please, I go, can you take her? Because she's really close to her and she can tame her. She can relax her. I can't because she's just really too close to her. And I said, you know what? I said, can you please do it? And she said no. So she told me.
Just a second. What day of the week was that? Do you remember?
It was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday. Okay. Were you working?
Yes, ma'am.
You just come home from work. What were you doing?
What was I doing? We're getting ready to go eat dinner.
What had you been doing during the day?
Just
nothing.
Cleaning. Just cleaning and stuff.
Nothing. You were hanging around your house. Why should your mother, who's worked on Sunday, take your daughter to the dentist when you've been doing but hanging around with, what's his name?
My husband.
Whatever, Mr. No License. What do you do for a living?
I stay home because I'm not supposed to really work right now because I have a heart condition.
How many children do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
7, one just turned 4, that's my son, and 5.5-month-old.
When were you diagnosed with a heart condition?
When I was pregnant with my daughter.
Is this the 7-year-old?
No, the 5.5-month-old baby.
And what does he do for a living?
He was working, what is it, like in the freezer of 7-Eleven.
Who was paying this $221 a month?
I was.
From
well,
what?
at the time, he
From
was
just
working.
a second. From what?
At the time, he was working. Now he's
Listen,
not working.
Now you have 3 children, and he doesn't look like he can earn enough so he can feed himself. So you're not telling me that he had an extra $221 a month to pay for a car?
But at the time, he was.
You get any
He was
assistance?
working.
Do you get any assistance?
Yes.
That's my baby. Then you say, I get assistance.
I get
and it's from the assistance that you were paying the $221 a month.
But actually, it was from him.
Actually, he was paying for your car. You're not entitled to the money back from your car. You can't afford a car. You have 3 children and one person working.
But I have my receipt showing that I...
Your mother does not have to maintain a car while you let somebody drive the car who has no insurance. And the insurance is in her name. You did the wrong thing. But you're not getting your money back. Do you understand? Period. Your case is dismissed. Goodbye.
I put every single payment down. I put $221 every single month, and I can't believe her.
I think it's fair.
But you know what? That's it. She's never going to see her grandchild again. I don't care.
I don't think she should take my granddaughter away.
That's not right, and she knows it's wrong. She knows it's wrong.
It's really upsetting for me because I'm really close to my granddaughter.
I asked her because I knew she would, because I know she can tame her more than I can tame her. Because she feels more comfortable. Like she said, she's close to her.
I think her
husband or boyfriend has a lot of influence on her.
That's it, because if she won't give my money back or the car or anything, it doesn't matter. That's it.
Well, whenever she's at my mom's, sneak over there.
She's no longer my mom. I don't care.
She's just being a brat right now, but of course I would help her. I mean, she's my daughter. I mean, that's why I'm upset.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Niwega versus Downer. Step forward, please.
Tanya Niwega is suing air conditioning technician Chad Downer for trespassing on her property and disabling her air conditioner.
All right, interesting case. Ms. Niwega, according to what I read in your complaint, you live in a home with your children. It was very, very hot, and your air conditioner broke. You called the defendant. He came out. He fixed your air conditioner, and you gave him a bad check. Check bounce that you gave him. According to the defendant, he tried to resolve the issue over a period of time, got no satisfaction. He came to your residence. He took back the part that he had put in to fix your air conditioner, and now you had no air conditioning again. You're suing him because you say that he had absolutely no right to come out and vandalize your air conditioner and for trespassing on your property. So far, am I about right?
Something to that effect.
Oh, that's exactly what happened. Mr. Downer says that you gave him a bad check. He tried to resolve it over a period of time. He got very frustrated. And he did go to your house.
Yes.
And he did remove the part that he had put in to originally fix your air conditioner. He's counterclaiming because he says he made 2 visits to your house and he hasn't been paid for anything. Right?
If he made 2 visits to my house, he didn't talk to me. I was not there.
Just a second.
Okay.
On what date, Ms. Niwega, did you call him?
Probably someday in June.
No, I need the date.
I don't know the date.
Well, you have the bill.
Well, this is the day he came out, and I'm sure this is not the date that I called him. So he came out on
what
June
date
21st.
did he? On what date did he come out?
June 21st.
Do you know, Mr. Downer, when she called you?
It was probably the day before or else that day. I'm pretty prompt when I get a call.
And how hot was it in June?
It was hot.
So you were inconvenienced because you had no air conditioning. How many children do you have?
2.
So he came out and fixed the air conditioner, and you gave him a check. For how much?
$189.
You deposited the check?
Yes.
Came back insufficient funds?
Yes.
And when did it come back to you, Mr. Downer?
Approximately a week later.
So say the 28th of June.
Yes.
Okay. What efforts did you try to make to get your money?
I called several times, and each time I called, she apologized and said she was sending a certified check. The check was in the mail.
How many times did you call? Do you have any
It was like
indication?
three times.
Over what period of time?
I gave her each time approximately 1 week for the check to show up, and we don't live that far away. It would take probably 2 days for the check to show up. The check never came.
You called her immediately when the check bounced, though.
Oh, definitely.
Did you volunteer to come over and get the cash from her?
I don't believe so. She just said she was sending a check.
On what date did you decide to take matters into your own hands?
It was the Monday before I actually went over there. I called and said, you need to call me. I'm going to come over and take the part off this week if you don't call me. She never contacted me until the night before and said...
Night before you were scheduled to go, you told her you were going
right,
out.
Yeah, and she had left a voicemail message. I didn't get it because it was long hours at that time, and said that it's okay to come over and take the part back.
You have that voice message?
I don't. It got bumped off. I have a letter from her saying that it's okay to come over and take the part.
I'd like to see the letter.
I underlined it right here.
Thank you. Do you have any idea the date that you went out there, sir?
I believe it was about 1 month later. It was a Friday. I think it was almost exactly 1 month later.
You know when he came out to remove the part?
The 21st.
No, that's when he came to put in the part.
Yeah,
when
the
did
next
he
month.
come?
No,
The
the
7/21.
7/21 he came out.
7/21. Well, why between June 21st and July 21st didn't you get him his money?
His whole little story is all misconstrued.
I know.
Back and
I
forth.
don't listen to
back
me.
and forth. We were calling on the phone.
I'm not interested in back and forth, Miss Niwega. I'm interested in why, for 1 month, you called him. He responded to your home within 24 hours. He fixed your air conditioner. He had no trouble with the air conditioner that he fixed. He charged you a nominal amount of money to come out. And my question to you is, why didn't you make good on the check for 1 month?
I had a new baby. That was an oversight on my part. I did go get him a money order to make good on the check.
But you didn't give it to him.
He didn't want it.
Don't tell me he didn't want it. You mean he didn't want to get paid?
No, he didn't, because I have the money order right here that I
don't
got
care
for
about
him.
the money order that
And
you
he
have.
told, no, this is what he told me. He said, 1, he said he never came to my house. 2, when he did come over there, he fixed the air conditioner. Then he called me. No, he didn't call me. The lady called me about his check.
Just a second. It says, by the way, the letter does not give you permission to come on her property. That's your interpretation. It says, she said to you, I sent you a message back requesting you to contact me before making access to my property. But the beginning of the letter says, this letter is to inform you that no one from your company is allowed to come on my property.
That was after that I'd already been there.
Right, I got it.
When he said he never was there.
I got it. But she never gave you permission to come on the property.
She actually did in a voicemail.
Just a second. Well, that's hearsay, madam. If you had saved it and I could have authenticated it, that might have been another story. But other than that, it's hearsay. Ms. Noriega, I'm not going to spend any more time on this case. You're entitled to nothing. I'm giving you nothing because, quite frankly, he's not allowed to trespass on your property to remove something that he had put in. What he's supposed to do is use the court system to do that. He's supposed to sue you for the bad check. I can certainly understand his frustration when you blew him off for a whole month. For that, you don't get rewarded. You don't get rewarded giving somebody a bad check for work that they performed, for coming out to your home, and for then telling me that you had a baby and that you had a whole bunch of bills.
Well, I got a money order.
Don't listen to me, Ms. Noriega. You're speaking when I am.
Okay.
That's the reason you gave him a bad check, because you didn't have any money, and you may not have had money for a month.
No, it was an oversight on my part. It was an oversight on my part, and I do accept that. But when I got him a money order for the amount of the check plus $25 for his bounce check fee, I covered my debt to him.
Just a second. You never got it to him.
He didn't want it. He came over there, wanted to be some mafia thug and jump all on my roof and take my air conditioner off.
Ms. Noriega, let me tell you something. Stop making excuses. You did the wrong thing. You gave him a bad check. And so did he. And he's not going to get paid because he did the wrong thing. You're not allowed on her property. And I don't believe that she said to you, come on, take out whatever part you like and come on my property, because that's not the way she's doing business. So she started out with an air conditioner that doesn't work. She still has an air conditioner that doesn't work.
Somebody fixed it. It works.
And if she had it fixed again, I hope she gave the person who fixed it a good check.
And I gave him cash.
Your case is, gave him cash? Good. Everybody should get cash from you, Ms. Noriega. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Not hire shade tree people, got their front window broken.
She didn't pay for the service. I went over there, performed a good service.
Because they must do this to lots of people.
It was very inexpensive, to get the machine running again.
And it's over with. He's a Riri.
And, she didn't pay for it.
Daniel Roadcap is suing his ex-wife, Dorothy Adams, for unpaid loans and for stealing property from their home.
All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 227 on the calendar in the matter of Roadcap versus Adams. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Mr. Roadcap, this is your former wife.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been divorced for how long, sir?
Since August of 2004.
And you have one child?
Yes.
A daughter?
Yes.
And that child is currently living with you?
Yes.
After a protracted custody dispute?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Correct.
This is your claim. You claim that subsequent to the divorce, you made 2 loans to your wife.
Mm-hmm.
You want those 2 loans repaid.
Yes.
You also claim that when she moved out of a house that you own, she took property that did not belong to her.
Correct.
She had been living in a house that you purchased at some point after the divorce in order to give your wife and daughter a home. She had what you term a rent-to-buy situation with the home.
Correct.
She was supposed to make the payments on the mortgage. Subsequently, you claim that she failed to maintain the house. You took possession of the house, and when she moved out, she took property from the house of certain appliances and things that belonged to you.
Correct.
Your former wife says that you did, in fact, make one loan to her for some bills. That loan was repaid with certain small cash payments and a pool table that she gave you in exchange for the rest of the money. The second loan that you made to her was really not a loan, which was something that had to do with the line of credit that you had on the house. And since now you have the house, it's your problem. And the property that was taken from the house was hers. That's your defense?
Yes.
Okay. When was the first loan and why, Mr. Roadcap?
The first loan was in November of 2005, and it was for $1,855, and it was because she had gotten
behind in her bills.
She had just resigned from the job that she had.
Did she call you?
Yes.
And what did she say when she called you?
She needed money to catch up on some of the bills and to get the kids Christmas gifts.
What arrangements did you make for repayment?
She had notified me that when she got her tax check back at the first of the year, that she would pay me in full then.
What happened when you got your tax check back, Miss Adams?
That wasn't the agreement at all. The $2,000 that I had borrowed from Daniel, he actually got it from a separate line of credit that he had for a bank that he used.
Don't make things more complicated than they are. You borrowed $2,000. He says 1855. You say 2,000.
Those are two separate loans, Your Honor.
I'm talking about the 1855 loan.
The 1855 came from that home equity line of credit. I paid that every month myself. That was part of our rent-to-own agreement for the house. That was actually my bill. It was never meant to be repaid to him. I paid that $130 a month for as long as I lived in the home.
Just a second. $1,855 in November of 2005. And you say that you totally paid for that loan from your home equity line of credit on the house.
Completely paid for. I paid it, I paid 7 payments. He knows of 5 payments I paid on it. So he's actually asking for $1,833 when he knows that I paid at least 5 of those payments already.
Well, just show me.
I don't have that with me.
Well, this is where you need it, madam. This is where you need it. This is court. This is what you're coming for. All you have to do is show me that after November 5th, on this revolving line of credit that you had, you made payments. Show me.
If he has, I don't know.
Not he, your check.
Well, there should be some kind of proof to saying when is the last payment I paid in the house.
Miss Adams.
I don't have that.
Miss Adams, all I want are your checks.
I don't have it with me.
Well, it's unfortunate. $1,855. When was the next loan?
That was at the end of November, which was 11/28, and that was $2,000.
What was that for?
That was, I didn't have the money all at once, so I had to isolate and get 2 different loans. Here's the copies of the checks.
She acknowledges that you gave her that money. $3,855. How much was repaid?
She made $80. She made December and January, so it was 2 payments made on the $80, and the home equity line of credit was late January, February, and not at all in March, and she tried to make it again late in April, and it was too late then. By then, the home equity line of credit was already, she defaulted.
She made 2 payments, is that correct?
On the $2,000, yes, ma'am.
What about on the 1855?
She made 3 payments.
So that's 5 altogether of
yes,
160.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what else?
At the time, we had a property agreement that she had to rent to own. She defaulted on her contract, so at that time, I took over the payments, and she had till June the 1st to get the house and everything in her name, and she did not do that. So July the 1st, she had to move out, which I asked her if she didn't want to move out, she could have rented it, but she chose not to. At that point, she left July the 1st, and she left the house like this.
Can I see it, please?
I took 8 truckloads of trash out of the house. It is a...
There was nothing left in the house when I moved out of the house.
Including the refrigerator.
How many children do you have, Miss
I have 3
Adams?
children.
Only one of them is yours?
Correct.
How old are the other 2 children?
My oldest will be 13 this month, and I have a 10-year-old son.
Are they living with you?
Not at this time.
Who do they live with?
Well, my oldest daughter, for about 6 months now, has lived with her father in California. And my son, I guess he is with my mom since Daniel took the house.
Okay, the house is a mess. Who bought the appliances?
I did. Here's the receipts for them. I
Your
have
Honor.
2 receipts.
Can I see the
I have 2 receipts because I can't measure, and I had to take 1 refrigerator back. It didn't fit. So I have...
And Your
a
Honor,
glass top stove.
I also have a copy here of the refrigerator I purchased when I bought the house. The house was brand new. It didn't have appliances in it when I first bought it, or got it from him. And
It had no
I had
appliances.
to purchase those things.
Just a second. It had no appliances. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, it didn't have refrigerators. It did have a stove, which was accidentally taken from the movers on the last day. I've mentioned to Daniel that he can go get it. It's in the storage building. He doesn't want that. He'd much rather keep me in court over and over again.
Just a second. Why did you take the stove if you didn't buy it?
I had told the movers, it was just some friends of mine, I wasn't there that day, I told them to go get the refrigerators and the washer and dryer, and they just took the stove.
Well, that was a mistake.
Yes, and I have it, and I've told him he can go get it.
He doesn't have
numerous
to go
times.
get it. Why should he have to go through the expense of going to get it?
It's right there in town, where, like, just a couple blocks from where I live.
Well,
He
then
has a
you
big
go-
truck, I don't.
then
And
you-
he and I was friends this whole time. And until May, when I got married, Daniel and I was friends. All these agreements was made with us being friends. That's why I don't have documentation of this and that and this and that.
Well, what happened, Miss Adams, is that you got married in May and planned to move with your daughter and his daughter to another state.
My husband's in the military.
I don't care whether he is in the military or he's in the circus. You can't take his child away.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You don't want to discuss with me why you, who have 3 children, don't have any of them living with you, do you? And it's not because he took your house away.
And later today,
Alcohol basically has ruined his life. As a matter of fact, he has 4 DUIs. 1 was on a 4-wheeler.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Daniel Roadcap claims ex-wife Dorothy Adams owes for loans and for taking his property from their shared home. Dorothy says Daniel is angry over her new marriage.
When did you tell him that you were planning to move to Georgia? When did she tell you?
About May 2nd.
And when was the move going to take place?
I had no idea. It was very discreet.
When was the move to take place?
Well, my husband's still
just give me a date.
It'll be after January of this year before I could even possibly move. He's still in AIT.
When were you planning to move?
That's what I gave him, an indefinite, like way back, like several months from then.
Is that right? What did she tell you?
I had no idea. She was in a separate relationship, and they broke up April 24th.
Yeah.
At May 15th, she was married to another guy I had never met, my daughter had never met, and she said that she was going to be moving out of state.
Your Honor, the reason why Daniel didn't know of my new marriage and of my expectations and what I was planning on getting from that is because of these. These are his legal records showing that Daniel is not Mr. Sweet Kind, here, let me help you out here. He's got assault and battery. He's got shoot and throw missiles at an occupied vehicle.
I don't care, madam. Listen to me. It has nothing to do with this. You don't want to discuss with me why you, who have 3 children, don't have any of them living with you, do you?
No, but this is why I wanted to get out of the state.
Listen to me. And it's not because he took your house away. I mean, if you have 3 children, somebody takes your house away, you don't let your children go someplace else with your mother, with their other father. You go to a shelter someplace. You get a job and you get an apartment. So we don't have to go into history. The only issue that I have before me is whether you owe him this money and whether you took the refrigerator and the stoves that he purchased. And why, after what apparently was a reasonable period between the 2 of you having been divorced, he had a house, you were in the house with your 3 children, you needed money, you called him, he loaned you money, there was no problem. Problem was when you married somebody that he didn't know and you told him you're taking your kids and you're moving hundreds of miles away. And he said, what, are you crazy? You're not going to take my daughter. You may take your other 2 children. Their fathers may not care, but you're not taking my daughter away. And then you got angry, and you left the house like a trash bin, and you took property that didn't belong to you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Until I come up with something, concrete against him, I'm just going to keep on doing this.
It's not the fact that she cares. It's just the fact that she's all out for herself.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Laxon versus Laxon. Step forward, please.
Chris Laxon is suing her ex-husband, Henry Laxon, for vet bills he promised to pay when his cat Toes became ill. Henry says he wanted the cat euthanized.
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Laxon. You mean you couldn't work this out? You had to come here?
Yes.
You 2 folks have been divorced for how long?
About 7 years.
And from what I read in the complaint and the answer, you have children together?
Yes. Yes.
You have shared custody of the children?
Yes.
That seems to work out fine.
Yes.
Perfect.
So that's a testament to your parenting and your ability to put the children's needs over your own.
Thank you.
So far correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Case is about the cat.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Laxon, you had a cat for the children. How many children do you have?
I have 2 children, Your Honor.
How old are they?
Jonathan is 9 and Brittany is 8.
So 2 little kids. And I understand from the papers that they had had a cat previously that died.
Yes, Your Honor.
When did that cat die?
Well, that cat died probably not too long before this one did, probably about February. We got it from the neighbor downstairs. Unfortunately, it had been through some traumatic experiences previous to that. So it was just a matter of probably when, because the kid they were watching it actually drowned it, and they brought it back to life.
So it died in February.
Yes.
And you got another cat.
Yes.
That cat's name is?
This one's now named as Sugar.
And where did you get Sugar from?
We got her from the local pet shop.
When?
I would say about 2 to 3 months ago.
And then that cat got sick. Sugar got sick.
No, Sugar did not get sick, Your Honor. The one that got sick was actually Toes.
So that was a 3rd cat.
Okay. Well,
Was
actually,
that a 3rd cat? That was a 3rd cat. So first you got one from a neighbor in February. That one died.
that is correct.
Then you got Sugar from a pet shop.
That was just recently.
I'm talking about the cat, sir, that is the subject of this case.
I understand, ma'am.
That's Toes?
Yes, Toes and Moonies we got.
You got Toes after the first cat died.
No, actually, we got Toes before the first cat did.
So you had Toes, and then you got a second cat, and the second cat died.
Okay. No, Toes and Mooney, Your Honor, was the very first cat that we had. When I moved into the apartment, we didn't have any pets. So Toes and Mooney I got as both kittens, okay? And they were doing really great. Then the neighbors downstairs was about to move. They couldn't take their cat with them. That was Mischief.
Mischief you took, and Mischief died.
Correct, Your Honor.
Oh, Mischief died. And then Toes got sick?
Toes got sick probably about a month later.
And when Toes got sick, your former wife took the cat to the vet.
Yes.
And it was very expensive vet bill. She believes you should be responsible for the vet bill. And your defense is you told her that you weren't paying for the vet bill and that you told her that she should have the cat put down. And she felt as if it was not a good idea to put the cat down since the children had already lost one pet within a relatively short period of time. She now has Toes.
Yes.
And the children didn't go through the death of another pet.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, when did Toes become ill, Mr. Laxon?
I came home on a Monday night after work and picking up the kids from school, and I saw him laying on the floor very still by the refrigerator, and I, nudged him a little bit with my foot. You okay, kitty? Okay? And then I bent over.
How old was he?
Toes was probably only about 3.5 years old.
What did you do?
Well, when I bent down to rub him a little bit, make sure he was okay, I could see he was breathing. He opened up his eyes. I didn't move him, so right away, because Chris had worked with animals before, and I know she's pretty good authoritarian on cats, I called her up on the cell phone, and she called me back from work, and I said, can you please come over and look at him? I think he's dying. And she did. And then I said I'd watch the kids, and she would take him to the vet. I said, please have him put down.
Why would you say that, Mr. Laxon? So far, up until now, quite frankly, I'm crazy about you. But why would you, before you even found out what was wrong with the cat, tell them to put the cat down? Maybe it just had indigestion.
Well, Honor, I've worked around animals a lot, being from the Midwest and Iowa and that. My cousin had a farm. I've never seen a cat or an animal like that being that sick, and knowing that the veterinarian bill would be rather expensive. We had a cat like that together in our marriage. He ended up being about $900.
But wasn't this cat part of your family? Lived indoors?
Yes, Your Honor.
It was with your children?
Yes,
right?
Your Honor.
Right, Mr. Laxon, how do you explain that to your children?
Well, Your Honor, I realized that it was a very hard thing to do, a decision that had to be made.
Even before you knew what the vet said, you told her to put the cat down?
Yes, Your Honor.
You better hope that your children don't take the same approach with you when you get older. They say, listen, I love my father-in-law, I love my mother, but, my mother took good care of me. She took good care of my cat. She spent whatever was necessary to take care of the cat. My father, on the other hand, said, listen, you're part of the family, we'll get another one. Put him down.
Well, Your Honor, I realized that being that expensive, the most important thing to me was always provide for my children first. $900 could go easy for clothes, food, a college fund, or, maybe even a couple more toys. I mean, another cat would actually be more cost effective. I do love animals very much. I love Toes.
Mr. Laxon, what you're saying is you can have an animal in your house for a substantial period of time, have an animal part of your household, and if it gets sick or if it requires expensive shots or something, you just say, listen, let's put this one down and get a new one, because I can use that money instead to pay for your college or to buy an extra pair of jeans or something. Why would I spend that on an animal that I can replace for nothing? Is that what I'm hearing, Mr. Laxon? That's what I'm hearing, sir.
I understand you're saying that. You can never replace love on an animal.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Laxon, and I guarantee you if you gave your children the choice of whether they got an extra toy or whether their cat was given the medical assistance they needed, your children would say, take care of Toes.
That is correct. Unfortunately, as young as they are, they don't always understand the necessary things it is to be an adult and make important decisions to run a household.
Well, I'm talking to you about making a decision that I believe is in the best emotional welfare of your children. Children can get along without another toy. They can even get along, without an additional jacket, or they can get along without expensive sneakers. But it takes a while for them to get over the loss of a pet, especially when they're aware of the fact that the pet could have been saved with money, even money that you may have to pay over a long period of time. I want to tell you something, Mr. Laxon. You're gathering from what I'm saying, sir, that you don't have my sympathy.
I understand, Your Honor.
Good. Okay, so you took the cat to the vet, and what happened, Mrs. Laxon?
Well, I originally met Henry and the children at the golf lessons. and he told me off to the side that the cat was laying on the floor dying. So I said, I'll come over to your house, because if it's dead, the kids won't be able to handle it, and I'll take care of the kids. I got there, the cat was still breathing, and I said, I'll take him to the vet. I have an open credit card. If you'll pay my credit card bill back, I'll be happy with that. It's a zero balance. I won't charge anything else to it. He said, okay. So I took my daughter, who was 7 at the time, with me to the vet. She waited while they took the cat. I called Henry and said, they're doing these tests on it. It's going to be about $300 for the tests. He said, okay. About 10, 15 minutes later, they came back with the x-rays, the blood results, and they said, this is what's wrong with the cat.
What was wrong with the cat?
He had kidney problems, kidney infection. They weren't sure at first whether it was stones or kidney failure. He had blood in his kidneys, so they had to catheterize him. He was in the hospital for 5 days. Actually, he was in for 7 days. But I called him back and I said, this is going to run this much. It's going to be over $1,000 for the whole thing. What do you want me to do? He said, go ahead, we've already gone this far. I said, okay. So they took the cat. I took my daughter back to his house, picked up my son, and we left. Next day, from my understanding, Henry went down and visited the cats at the hospital. On Thursday, he called the vet. And on Friday, I went to pick up the children from his house. I said, how's the cat? Let me see him. He says, well, you know, you should have put the cat down. I told you to do that. It's your bill. You're stuck with it. If you want the cat, he's at the vet still. I said, that was never our agreement. I took our daughter with us. I would never kill a cat with my daughter in the room. He said, well, it's your problem. So I called the vet. I picked the cat up on the Sunday. He's now home with me. He's had medical treatments. He's doing very well. He's 14 pounds, and he just loves us to death. He's like a little puppy.
How many cats do you have in your house now, Mr. Laxon?
I have 2, Your Honor.
And you?
I have 4 now. Mine are very old, 15 years old.
Is it true, Mr. Laxon, that your former wife took your daughter with her to the vet?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
Were you there when she took your daughter to the vet?
I was at the house when she took the daughter to the vet, yes, Your Honor.
And you want me to believe that she took the cat to the vet with your daughter there and they were going there for the purpose of putting the cat down?
Yes, Your Honor, because that's what I had instructed her to do.
Okay. When she came back, Mr. Laxon, and you found out that she had not put the cat down, and it was your cat, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you pick up the phone and call the vet and tell the vet to put the cat down?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Why not, Mr. Laxon?
Because I depended on Chris to do that.
No. Listen, you just said to me, sometimes when you're a parent, you have to make hard decisions. And even though your children don't understand those hard decisions, that's what you have to do as a parent. So here, you gave an instruction to your former wife to put the cat down.
Yes, Your Honor.
Something that you could have done.
That's true.
Same way, you take your daughter and go to the vet and put the cat down. It's your cat, right?
You're right, Your Honor.
But you gave the cat to your wife with your instruction, according to you. Now, the same day you found out that this is not what she's going to do, you had 2 options. Either you let her go ahead with it, or you call the vet and say, this is my cat, and I'm giving you an instruction to put the cat down. You chose not to do that. You pay the bill. How much is the bill?
The total bill was $1,231.96.
Judgment for the plaintiff, that's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, actually, I really think it was a bad choice on her part. This actually allows people to now raise bills on your case and then turn around and put you to the bill.
I'm pleased with it. She saw the honesty in me, and she saw that he wasn't telling the truth, and she saw that it was all about the children, really, more than anything else.
I think there was probably a little bit more involved. Before in the past, when I got child custody from her, she always said someday she'd try to get the money back, and I think this is her way to try.
Our custody is 50-50. I'm very happy with the way things are, and I thought he was too.
Life does happen like this. Animals get sick and die. There's nothing you can really do about it.
Isaac Uno is suing his former tenants, Ann V. Kelly and Kevin Jackson, for unpaid rent and property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2116, Uno versus Kelly Jackson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Uno, you purchased a duplex home, 2 different apartments.
That's correct.
In what month and year did you purchase the home?
November of 2020.
And when you purchased it, one of the duplexes was occupied by the defendants.
That's correct.
It is your claim that they owe you for rent?
Yes.
And for property damage?
That's correct.
They are no longer there?
No.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
How long were you and your wife living in the duplex before November of 2020?
We moved in June of 2019.
And at the time, do you recall who your landlord was in June of 2019?
Yes.
Between June of 2019, when you first moved in, and November of 2020, when the plaintiff bought the property, was there any work done on that property?
Not at all.
No maintenance?
No maintenance.
Okay. So from the time you moved in, the prior owner did no maintenance on that property? Did no painting?
Oh, just the minor stuff before we moved in. They just painted and just had everything looking nice, the floors.
So just a second. So the prior owner painted the premises and did the floors?
Yes, it was carpet and some flooring in the kitchen.
And Mr. Uno did not do any other painting or flooring or any cosmetic work on the duplex when he purchased it in November of 2020.
No.
So whatever was there by the previous owner of the property is still there.
Yes.
I'm just asking you this because your counterclaim is for child endangerment, and the child endangerment is because of lead paint. That's what you write here.
Yes.
He didn't put in the lead paint, right?
Yes, thinking about that.
He didn't paint it. You don't know when it was painted. Maybe it was painted by the prior owner. How do you know? By the way, do you have medical records of the child that you claim has lead poisoning?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. Yes, you. I have no idea what this says.
That's the piece of paper that he gave me from the hospital.
Well, I don't understand.
For his blood work.
I'm not a doctor, so I can't.
Okay.
We have something from the health department also stating that because my son his lead was found in his system, they got involved.
I understand that. He did not paint the apartment.
No, ma'am.
When you, just for my own curiosity, when you bought this place, do you remember the purchase of it? And when you purchase a property, usually there's an inspection.
Yes.
And one of the questions usually has to do with lead paint. Do you remember any of that from when you purchased the property?
I didn't receive any notification of lead paint from the inspectors.
Well, usually they sign off that there is no lead paint.
I don't remember seeing because they never mentioned anything about it.
Nothing about lead paint? No. Okay. Did you ever have the home tested, by the way, for lead?
Only when we found out about my son having lead.
Okay. And do you have the test result?
And there was lead found in 2 places, not just the bathtub.
Miss Kelly, the issue is he didn't do any of that painting.
Right.
He bought the place. You had been living there for a year and a half before he bought the place.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And your son was born within that year and a half.
Well, we moved there, he was 6 months.
He was 6 months old, so he lived there for a year and a half even before he purchased it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We did buy the things to fix the bathroom up. He told us to take them back to fix the tub and everything because we asked him to fix it. So the things we had, like to get the tub fixed, the flooring and everything, he told us to take back.
How many people were living in the duplex?
In our apartment?
In your apartment?
4.
4? Including the baby?
Yes, ma'am.
Including the baby. And how old's the other child?
She's 14.
Okay. Do you have that report?
No. This is just stating where it was at.
The health department?
Yes. I thought that piece of paper that I gave you was that one.
No.
This is just.
This doesn't say.
This is just showing where the lead was found in the house.
How old is this duplex?
It was built in 1906, so almost 115 years or so.
Yeah. And they certainly used lead paint
Possibly,
then.
yeah. I'm not sure about
I'm
it.
not sure.
I don't
But,
understand about it.
Ms. Kelly, Mr. Jackson, that's not his fault. That's not his fault. So now I would like to know, Mr. Uno is suing you for rent. And I'd like to know first, how much rent were you paying?
$750.
And that's what you were paying under the old lease?
Yes.
And were you current on your rent when Mr. Uno took over the property?
Yes.
In November of 2020?
Yes.
So far correct?
That's accurate.
When did you stop paying rent?
December of 2021.
So you paid rent for a year?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, when I first moved in, yes, I was working 2 jobs.
And were you working from November of 2020 to December of 2021?
Yes, I was. It was.
For whom?
Yes, I was. I was working for TGI Fridays.
And Ms. Kelly, were you working?
No, ma'am, I'm disabled.
And how much were you receiving in pay?
I was only getting...
If you have to think about it, you don't remember.
Yeah, I wasn't getting too much because it was during COVID, and I was working at a restaurant, and I was only allowed to work 3 days out of the week.
Okay. And what happened in December of 2021?
What happened was he already sent us a letter previously saying that he wanted to go up on the rent to a...
Okay.
Yes, to
so you
$1,000.
had no lease anymore, and he wanted to raise the rent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I believe you. And that was the reason that you used to try to evict them before?
Yes, that was the first one. But I don't agree with his statement.
Well, what statement don't you agree with?
Isaac Uno claims his former tenants, Ann V. Kelly and Kevin Jackson, owe for unpaid rent and property damage. Ann V. and Kevin are countersuing for child endangerment and a constructive eviction.
And in what month was that?
He sent it to us, I want to say...
Do you remember, Mr. Uno?
It was 90 days before the 1st of December, so that would have been, I think, September 31st or October 31st.
That he was raising the rent to what?
To $1,000 a month.
Effective December.
Yes, December 1st.
And what happened in December?
We were, at that time, looking for a new apartment, and at that time it was hard because around that time, a lot of the rent was going up from just being like $800, $900 to like $1,200 to $1,400 for rent for a month there.
Don't speak.
Okay.
And that was, why we stopped paying rent, because we were actually looking for a house, even when he gave us the 90 days.
Okay. So, Mr. Jackson, based upon what you just told me, sir, stop shaking your head, based upon what you told me, your landlord gave you 90 days notice that if you wished to stay on, he was raising your rent to $1,000 a month.
Yes.
And you started to look around for a new place.
Yes.
And the new places were very expensive.
Yes.
And you didn't find a place.
No.
So you decided to stay in this place.
No.
So what did you do?
We...
So if you didn't find a place
we decided
in December...
we were trying to stay there until we found a place.
I assume they paid rent in September.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
In October?
Yes.
Yes.
They paid rent in October?
Yes.
Good. And November?
November was the last month that they paid.
So they paid in November?
Yes.
So you stopped paying rent in December of 2021?
Yes.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
If I need you,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
come to you.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Okay.
Because so far he's doing fine. You stopped paying rent in December of 2021. Tell me why.
We didn't want to live there ourselves anymore either, but it was just a lot of things going on at the house. Like after my father passed away, and he first gave us the first eviction notice because he gave us more than one.
Just a second.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're skipping over.
Okay.
He didn't give you an eviction notice, I assume, until you stopped paying rent.
No, before December, he gave us like 3 of them, I think. I want to say 3.
Really?
Yes.
Why were you trying to evict them before?
They had torn up the carpet upstairs. It was a moratorium for evictions, but there was a stipulation that emergency evictions for nuisance tenants could be granted before then.
Is there any reason why you took up the carpets?
Yes, the same thing before he took over. Everything was in the house before that, and we complained to the previous owner that the carpet was already dirty. They said that they were going to come and shampoo it, but never did. Like, we would walk and our socks would be black, our feet would be black, so we wanted to take the carpet up. It was dirty to us. And I myself actually told him about it. I went downstairs to his apartment because he lived downstairs from us, talked to him about it. He came upstairs and I showed him a section of the carpet that wasn't even connected to the floor. You can lift up the whole carpet and like across a whole section of the wall. And then when I did that, he seen that the hardwood looked kind of decent. And then instead of putting new carpet on, he wanted the hardwood to get sanded down and just get stained and, and lacquered over.
So you took the carpet off?
Yes.
I believe you. Sounds right, Mr. Uno. Okay. And that was the reason that you used to try to evict them before?
Yes, that was the first one. But I don't agree with his statement.
Well, what statement don't you agree with?
Well, a number of things that he said. I didn't authorize him. We spoke. I asked him in the first meeting if there was anything that they wanted to have spruced up or anything as a good gesture, and they took it upon themselves to take up the carpet without my permission.
Okay, not a huge deal. Not a huge deal. You can use it as a huge deal if you want your tenants out because, you can re-rent that duplex for substantially more money.
It was more about their conduct, that they were being very disturbing behavior and just being off the wall. So I wanted them out for a lot of reasons.
Well, I know, but only one of them qualified under the eviction moratorium.
Yes, for emergency of dismantling the
Only
place.
one, and that would have been the carpet. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
I'm back to you, sir. I haven't figured out yet. You stopped paying rent in December, and you moved out in what month?
We didn't move out until June.
June. So January, February, March, April, and May. Let's say 5 months' rent that you didn't pay, correct?
Yes.
Why?
Can I speak, Your Honor?
No, him. Tell me why you didn't pay the 5 months' rent, Mr. Jackson.
We just figured that, well, we didn't figure. We didn't want to pay him $1,000 because to us,
okay, so let's say you didn't want to pay him $1,000, even though you just told me finding another place would be more expensive, right? You said $1,200, $1,400, but you didn't give him $750. You gave him $0 for those 5 months. So I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Jackson. Does your wife receive disability payments because of her disability?
Yes.
Yes. How much a month?
That I don't know.
How much a month do you receive, Ms. Kelly?
$1,000.
$1,000. And did you continue to receive that $1,000 every month from December until June?
Yes, ma'am.
You see, certain things remain constant. Your disability payments remain constant.
Right.
If you live in an apartment and you have the same sort of income, then you pay rent.
Right.
And if you didn't pay $1,000, so I hear you. Well, that's what he said he wanted. And he's the landlord. And he's allowed to do that if you're going to stay in his premises. But you paid nothing, Mr. Jackson, and that's what I don't understand.
Well, the furnace was busted.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Miss Kelly.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
What? You paid nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
Where did you move in June?
Moved in the same area, like kind of like probably 10 minutes away from that particular street.
Is it a private house or an apartment?
It's a house. Well, it's a duplex as well.
Duplex. So the same sort of setup. And how much rent are you paying?
Pay $950.
So almost as much as he wanted in his rent. But are you more comfortable in that unit?
Yes.
Okay.
My wife walked down there and asked, was he the landlord? He just said that he was the building manager. So nobody even got rent for the month of November when we lived there, not him or even the previous people, because he didn't even come upstairs and introduce us.
Well,
but,
I wouldn't complain about that, sir, if you're...
Isaac Uno claims his tenants, Envy Kelly and Kevin Jackson, owe for unpaid rent and property damage. Envy and Kevin claim Isaac forced them to leave.
Now, you saved over 5 months, let's say, minimally $750.
$37.50.
$37.50. Now, Mr. Uno, the only question that I have to ask you is, Mr. Jackson and Miss Kelly say that they filled out some sort of forms for rent relief during COVID, and you signed it. And they say you received money from the state for any unpaid rent. Did you receive any money from the state for rent that they didn't pay?
No, I approached them with an application, but the program that funds the landlord relief for the moratorium was only open for 1 month, and I came and went and I missed it and I never got it. So I did have them fill out something. It was just a hardship thing, but they didn't give me the money for it. I never received anything.
So you didn't receive any money. So far, Miss Kelly and Mr. Jackson, you owe Mr. Uno $3,750 for rent that you didn't pay while you occupied his premises. You, your furniture, your children, I don't care what it is. That's what you didn't pay. And you can't save up your money and not pay your landlord. That's his business. Just like you work for Fridays and you get your pay when you're supposed to, that's his business. He bought a house. He was counting on the income from that house to pay some of his expenses, and you didn't pay it. Well, there's no question you have to pay it. Now you have a counterclaim. I've already gotten rid of child endangerment. This is 150 years old. Constructive eviction. So I'd like you to tell me your allegations of constructive eviction.
Is that like from him not doing anything to the apartment while we lived there?
I assume. You say you were constructively evicted.
Yes, he...
But you didn't leave.
Yes, he has a couple of text messages in here where he says that he actually came up to the apartment to check things. He brought up when he first got there in November, we didn't have a working toilet until...
Just a second.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
So before he bought it, is that what you're telling me?
I mean, not before, I'm sorry. When he got the apartment in November, the previous owners, we were trying to contact to see who we pay for rent.
Just a second.
Okay, yeah.
He bought the duplex in November of 2020.
Yes.
Is what you're telling me, Mr. Jackson, that certain things weren't working prior to his purchasing the property?
No, I'm sorry. I want to take that back. After he purchased it, We didn't even know he purchased it because he was living downstairs, and my wife walked down there and asked, was he the landlord? He just said that he was the building manager. So nobody even got rent for the month of November when we lived there, not him or even the previous people, because he didn't even come upstairs and introduce us.
Well,
but,
I wouldn't complain about that, sir, if you're ahead of the game so far. If you didn't pay rent for November. You didn't pay the prior landlord and you didn't pay him. So far you're ahead $750. Okay, keep going.
To go back to the November, so during November, our toilet got stopped up, like right before Thanksgiving.
So shortly after he purchased it, he hadn't been up in the apartment, right?
No, not
just
at all.
you, your wife, your teenage daughter, and the baby.
Yeah, and the kids.
Okay, and the toilet got stopped up, and
he brought in a plumber, and then the guy found out that my son put a little toy in there, and he actually got
so
the toy
the
out.
toilet was broken by your son. Okay, so now the plumber said, here's the toy. Kid threw a toy down the toilet. Not an unusual, and
then the very next month in December, my son didn't put anything down there. The toilet started acting up again. It wouldn't flush for like all the way up until the next year, and it never got fixed. But it was from...
Well, you had to have, sir, you lived there with 3 adults. So there had to be a functioning toilet in the house.
It wasn't functioning.
So where did you go to use a functioning restroom?
Her mom lived up the street from us, so sometimes we lived up the street, or sometimes we would just still use the toilet.
Okay. You owe him $3,750 for rent that you didn't pay. Counterclaims dismissed. We're finished. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
I had to collect monetary judgment through the courts.
Him being the landlord, he left us like living in crappy conditions.
It was a unbearable situation that I was going through with the noise and the disturbances.
Yeah, he never came up there at all to fix anything.
And the destruction of the property.
He just started making up so many rules, to make it uncomfortable for us to live there.
Oh, it was, it's pretty quiet now.
That man is crazy. I'm glad it's over with.
You know what I think is interesting, Sarah, with these cases, we've had a lot of them. The forgiveness that the government wanted to show to people who were having trouble during COVID, work-related trouble, didn't have the same income, and didn't want to have a whole bunch of dispossessed homeless people. It came from a good place, as did some of the monies that were sent out by the government to sort of help people over a difficult time during the height of COVID. But then there are other people who suffer as a result of that, like a landlord who buys a property, a duplex property. Part of it is for income so that they can pay off mortgage, taxes, lawn service, whatever you have to pay on a house. And then the defendants, who really had no changed circumstances that they indicated to me. He was working, she was getting whatever she gets from disability, which is not insubstantial. I don't know if they get any other assistance for any of their other children, but certainly they moved into a place that's more expensive now, that's not far away. They just decided not to pay rent. And I don't think that that is the spirit of what either the federal government or the states who enacted it meant to happen, because the plaintiff owner of this property has rights too. Yeah. You've taken away a right of his.
I agree to an extent, but I also think that that's more a problem on the government's implementation of the moratorium in the first place. That's what ended up hurting the landlord. These people were simply taking advantage of a legal loophole that was created for them. He was in the restaurant business, which, as we know, was one of the toughest hit by COVID.
Right.
She was on a fixed income that wouldn't be enough to cover, barely enough to cover the rent on its own. And then they have to support themselves, feed themselves. They have 2 children. So I'm sympathetic towards the taking advantage of a legal loophole. So I don't know, if I was in your position, I might have decided differently.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Dean Miller is suing vehicle owner Robert Pena for damage after his 17-year-old son hit Dean's car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2076, Miller versus Pena.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Pena, is that your son?
Yes, it is.
The one who was driving the car?
Yes.
Okay, good. You stand up next to your father. Mr. Miller, is your claim that the defendant's son hit your car that was parked in a parking lot.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was parked in the parking lot of a high school.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you work in that high school?
Yes.
As what?
I'm a teacher.
What do you teach?
I teach what's called on-site continuation. It's a continuation classroom for 10th through 12th grade students.
Do you go to that school?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. On what date did you park your car when you allege it was hit?
I was on March 8th, Your Honor.
You were in school that day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you should know that in reviewing this case, Mr. Miller, because he was not there when his car was hit.
Correct.
Correct? And so he alleges that it was you who hit his car and then left the scene. Your father said it was not you who hit his car, and there's no proof that it was you who hit his car. That's what your father said. Before you answer my questions, I'm going to tell you that Mr. Miller has a video that he says was taken by school cameras that were zoned onto the parking lot that demonstrates that you actually did hit his car and leave. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So now we're going to go back to March 8th, and you're going to tell me what happened with Mr. Miller's car.
So I drive myself to school every day, or at the time I was driving myself to school because that was my only way of getting to school.
Did you have a driver's license?
At the time, no, I did not have a driver's
So you were driving a car without a driver's license.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what kind of a car were you driving?
It was a 1991 Camaro.
Where did you get the car from?
Me and my dad had gone off the street. It was a project car.
How old are you?
17.
Did you try to take a driving test?
Yes.
When?
Back when I had turned 17, actually, in February of last year.
And you didn't pass it?
No.
Did you take the written test?
No.
What did you take in February?
The practical test.
Just the practical test, the driving test?
Yes.
And you failed that?
Yes.
So despite the fact that you failed that, you drove the car, and your father knew that you were driving the car without a license? That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
Was there insurance on this car, Mr. Pena?
No, there wasn't.
So no insurance, no license. So far, not good parenting. You understand that, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so you drove yourself to school and?
There's a parking lot that all the students, teachers, anyone who goes to school, really, they can park
Yes, nobody suggests you were trespassing in a place you weren't supposed to be.
Yeah, so every morning I would park in...
Not everyone, look at me. That day, Mr. Miller's car.
Yes, Your Honor. That day, March 8th, I came to school as usual and I parked in my area, and then one of the on-school deputies that the school has, he pulled up right behind me as I parked, and he asked me for my information, he asked me for my name, my school ID.
I want to know what happened with Mr. Miller's car.
Oh, nothing happened with Mr. Miller's car.
So what you're telling me is that you did not hit Mr. Miller's car. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
What car were you driving that day?
1991 Camaro.
What color is it?
Red.
How long have you been going to that school?
It's my 4th year going.
How many other people drive a 1991 Camaro? Red. Nobody.
Nobody.
And so I'm going to watch this video. Sarah, do we have the video?
I have it. So, wait, you'll see it.
Okay. You had a truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so there's no question you hit the truck. Do you want me to show you the video?
No, Your Honor.
Well, if you don't want to see the video, that's because you told me a lie.
Oh, yes, I'd like to see the video.
Absolutely. Going to watch very carefully, you pulling into a spot and the truck moved as you were pulling in. Have they shown you the video, Mr. Pena?
They showed me a different version of that video.
Well, I've just seen the version that I saw. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Saw the truck move, did you?
Yes, it did.
When you were pulling in next to it?
Yes, I was.
When you were pulling in next to it? So that didn't happen because there was an earthquake. That happened because you hit the truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fine. Now we understand each other, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Great. That's a yes. Okay. Can I see pictures of your truck, please, and the estimate to repair it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you seen the photographs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Totally consistent, right? Okay. Mr. Miller, you're from California?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you regularly teach today?
Yes.
So you had to take a day off.
Yes, I have a substitute today, yes.
How many days off are you allowed?
10 per year. I've accumulated quite a few because I don't take many days off.
You get paid for those days?
I get compensated because I have sick days or personal necessity days.
The reason I'm asking you these questions, Mr. Miller, because it's no question that you are entitled to have your car fixed. But that's, to me, even though that's all you're requesting, I think the fact that Mr. Pena allowed his son to drive a car without insurance and without a license, not only without a license, but knowing that his son took a driving test the month before and failed it, which means that he was not a good driver. Not a good enough driver to get a driver's license. And I have a lot of people in my family that don't drive well, that I don't like to be in the car with. But they all have driver's licenses because they managed to pass a driving test. So I know that you are only requesting the $1,524, but I'm actually awarding you $2,500.
Thank you.
And that's for the aggravation of, instead of Mr. Pena saying to you, I'm sorry, my son hit your car, because either his son lied to him.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Either his son lied to him, or his son told him the truth, but he lied to me. And he's the grown-up. He set an example for his son that said it's okay to break the law. Not only for you, because you take the car to school. Take the car to school, even though you failed. Take the car to school. It has no insurance. If you hit somebody in that car and you seriously injure them, that car has no insurance. Car has no insurance. He has nothing to lose. Car has no insurance, but the person who he hit, person whose property he may have destroyed, they have no recourse. You understand, sir? That's a bad parental example. You want to say something to me or not?
Yes, I do.
I don't care that you didn't like it. That's not, as a parent, the lesson you should be teaching. And whether or not you like the way the sheriff spoke to him, that is totally irrelevant to me.
Later.
I paid as much as I could supporting him. I wasn't getting paid.
Dean Miller claims vehicle owner Robert Pena owes for damage after his 17-year-old son hit Dean's car.
Go ahead.
My thing I didn't like was how he got approached.
I don't care whether you like it or not.
That's what I didn't.
I don't care whether you like it or not. Did your son come home from school that day and say, I hit somebody's car?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Nowhere.
And just a second. And when you asked him whether he hit somebody's car, what did he tell you? Just be careful.
He said, I think. He
Just
felt
a
intimidated
second.
by
I think.
the sheriff and him.
I don't care that you didn't like it. That's not, as a parent, that's not, as a parent, the lesson you should be teaching. First of all, you allowed your son to violate the law. You allowed it. And then, I mean, I would certainly know whether I caused that much damage. He knew that that car moved. So either he lied to you or you lied to me. And whether or not you liked the way the school official spoke to him or the sheriff spoke to him, that is totally irrelevant to me. That shouldn't be the takeaway from this. The takeaway from this is you're supposed to follow the rules. The rules are meant for everybody, and that includes you and your kid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
Police officer came behind me when I parked and accusing me that I'd hit someone.
The school deputy saw the video, knew the car, so he approached the student.
The person who I supposedly hit came out with a megaphone yelling at me.
There is no megaphone, so I don't know where that came from.
Telling me that I'd hit him. So I was kind of like freaking out. I didn't really know what to think.
If it happened to me, he could hit someone else. And
I didn't know I hit your car. Like, did I hit your car? Like, I didn't even know what to think. I could have sworn I did not.
This was fortunate that it was just a parked car in a parking lot.
It is time to get his license, yes, that's correct.
It is time to get the car fixed and just get some closure on this.
In our family, we would call that contact a love tap. And as someone who has had a few run-ins potentially with stationary objects, I will tell you...
Not potentially.
I will tell you, you know when you hit a stationary object, even if it's just a light little love tap. So I just thought it was outrageous that the defendants, father and son, they knew that there was a video and still took the position of, nope.
Well, his father's position was, I didn't like the way they spoke to my son, and therefore, I'm not responsible. They shouldn't have spoken to him. I mean, he's 17 years old, but he looks like a man. He's taller than his father, you know.
You have to take responsibility.
But you have to take responsibility and not drive a car, especially. You failed a driving test. The most basic thing. I mean, you know, we have
I will
people...
say I did pass on the first try, so.
Yes, but we have people in our family who actually did not.
Okay, yes.
And they
will
didn't
not be
drive,
named.
and they didn't drive a car
Yeah.
until they could pass a driving
And
test.
their parents were the first ones to say, no. No shot until you
Right.
pass that test.
Absolutely.
So parents need to be responsible.
Giovanni Costello is suing his former friend, Jacob Knapp, for dental and medical bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 2110, Costello versus Knapp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Costello, you and Mr. Knapp were out drinking in the park.
Yes.
Date and time.
The date and time was around 3 a.m., and it was on 9/11 of 2021.
And you've known Mr. Knapp for how long?
Roughly 9 years. We started off playing high school baseball.
And when had you first met up on September 11th?
I can't remember the exact time. I would say around maybe 7 p.m.
Where?
At a bar over in Old Town Pasadena. We weren't meeting up.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So you were in a bar in Pasadena, 7 p.m., just the two of you, or were there more people?
No.
How many were there in the whole group?
I had around 5 or 6 people in my group, and we went
All
to a
friends?
Bar. Yeah.
And you?
He wasn't a part of that group.
But you were at the bar?
No, ma'am. I was at work when he contacted me.
Okay, so you were at the bar starting at 7 with your friends. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay, what time did he join you?
It wasn't, I couldn't tell you the exact time.
Approximately.
About an hour later.
At the bar?
Yeah, but it wasn't a text or anything like that. He just happened to go to the same bar.
No, ma'am. What ended up happening from the start, I was at work. He contacted me via text. I don't
Do you have that text?
No, ma'am. I tried to erase the whole memory from my mind, so I deleted all the pictures and all the text messages.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. I've never done that, by the way. You know, wanted to erase something from my mind, so I didn't just say I'm not going to think about it anymore. I've never done that. Did you ever do that, Sarah?
I have not.
You have not? And she's pretty efficient with text messages. Did you ever do that?
Never have I done that.
No. Well, you must be unusual, sir. Okay, so you met at the bar. What time did you get there?
Well, my shift ended at around 9 o'clock.
What time did you get to the bar?
10 o'clock.
And when you got to the bar, you met Mr. Costello.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a few friends with him. How long did you stay at the bar?
We were there till 12.
Okay, so Mr. Costello, you had been drinking from 7 until about 12.
Correct.
The answer is yes. Yes, of course. And what's your drink of choice, sir?
Beer.
What else?
The first bar that we were at doesn't serve hard alcohol, so it was just beer there.
Okay, so from 7 to when were you at the first bar?
Yeah.
From 7 to when?
7 to when? Till
To
12.
12.
Yeah.
So it's
But I
7
was
to
driving
12.
at the same time as well.
Okay, so from 7 to 12 you were drinking beer.
Yeah.
And then where did you go at 12 o'clock?
After 12 o'clock, we ended up going to another bar in Arcadia.
Okay, and you stayed there from when to when?
From 12 to closing, which is 2 a.m.
And you were part of that group?
Yes, that's when I initially met the group.
At the second bar or
At the
first?
second bar, yes.
Not at the first bar?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you got to the second bar, you were there you said you were there at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So they weren't there when you arrived?
They were there when I arrived, yes.
Well, he said that, I thought he said he got to the second bar at 12 o'clock.
I arrived at the bar at around 10 o'clock, ma'am.
And you got there at 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you all got together and left the bar, you had all been drinking, you for a very long time and you for a shorter time.
Yes, ma'am.
So from 10 to 2, so 4 hours. And what's your drink of choice?
10 to 12, Your Honor. I apologize. 10 to 12.
Where did you go at 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock is when we had all decided to go to a park, kind of a low-key area.
No, he said that he went to a bar between 7 and 12. Am I correct, Whitney? Did he say? 7 and 12. He said you were at the bar, first bar, between 7 and 12, drinking beer. That's what you said.
Correct.
You said the first bar only served beer. Is not an answer. Yes is an answer. You say at 12 o'clock, you went to a second bar where you had alcohol between 12 and 2.
Yes. Correct.
Yes?
Correct.
You got to a bar at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Which one? The beer bar or the alcohol bar?
I finished my shift, like I said, at 9, and I showed up at the bar at 10 to meet up with them, to try to rekindle an old friendship.
Okay. Yeah. I actually don't care about that. All right, so partially you got your story straight, partially not. Anyway, you were two drunks. Now it's after 2 o'clock, and you decide to go to a park. How many people went to a park, and what park?
It was the same amount of people that I was with from the start.
And you were along at the park?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay, did you take any beers to the park, or you went without them? You took beers to the park. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the main reasoning of going to the park was after the bar had closed, Jacob mentioned to the group that he had beers with him. So that incited us to go to the park and have some
To continue
beers with him.
drinking.
Exactly.
Yes, prior to me showing up, I did stop by 7-Eleven and pick
Okay, so you had beers with you, and you were at the bar.
Yes.
Nice, very good. Now you get to the park, you're drinking beers. Now you're going to describe what you say is the assault that you suffered at the hands of Mr. Knapp. Now, I want you to know my feeling before you tell me the story.
Okay.
I usually don't get myself overly exercised about what drunks do in a park. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I know that you may be all exercised about it, although I'm not exactly sure you're all exercised about it. So if you really are, I'm going to listen to you. If you're not, we just eliminate this case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it
Just
did.
a second. I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie. And that, I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak. It was so hard.
Giovanni Costello claims his former friend, Jacob Knapp, owes for dental bills after being hit in the mouth with a beer can.
Okay, go. You're in the park, drunk.
Starting
He's in the
yes.
park, drunk.
Yes.
And
To state I was not drunk because I was driving my witness here.
I
my
want to
friend
tell you
Maureen.
something. If you were drinking
Right.
from 7 to 2, you were drunk.
I hadn't been drinking the whole time that I was
Let's
there.
go. Let's go.
Okay. So going into it, I was sitting at a park bench with Maureen here. And then I had another 2 friends that were on the other side. And we're hanging out. They had the 2 across from me got up. They went further into the park, and I was sitting with just her alone. And I was just about to show her a video off my phone. Next thing I know, I get hit in the face by a beer. After that occurs, I reach to my mouth to see something's wrong there. And I feel that like a part of my tooth is missing.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the assault that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you allege that Mr. Knapp was the one who threw the beer bottle.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a full beer can.
A can.
Yeah, not bottle.
Did you report this incident to the police?
I did not take it to the police
Just a
because...
second, I'm just asking you.
Oh, sorry.
The answer is no.
No.
I disagree.
Disagree that he went to the police?
With his story.
Okay, I'll get there. Okay, so now you get hit in the face with a beer can, step by step. You look down, you look at your tooth.
Realize it's chipped. I say out loud, my tooth is chipped. She doesn't.
Don't tell me
believe it
not
at first.
about she. Just
Oh,
you.
Just me. I noticed it was chipped, and then after I announced that it was chipped, several of my friends, I guess, went towards him, and I
Well,
don't
you
know.
didn't tell me anything about him. You didn't tell me. You just said you got hit in the face with a beer can.
Yeah.
That's all you said to
And he was the only other person that was standing right there, besides her sitting
Just a
next to me.
So you didn't see him throw the beer can at you.
There was no one else there.
I'm just.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't see him throw it at me, but there was never a case of.
No, you didn't.
Of anything.
That's all.
Yeah.
You didn't see him throw it at you.
No.
Okay, go.
From the park, Your Honor?
Take it from
All
the
right.
park.
So
Now I got 2 drunks in the park, maybe 3.
there was actually more than just 3 of us surrounding the table.
Just a second.
Me and him.
Go slowly.
Okay, sorry.
Slower.
Let me take
I
it
don't
down a
know
notch.
table. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, as he was saying, we were sitting at a park bench. I had brought the beer. The beer was next to me. He had asked me to toss him a beer. And that's plainly what I did was I underhanded him lightly a beer to him. And in his defense, he's saying he wasn't drunk, but it definitely was apparent that he was. When
And
you lightly
anybody who's been
toss a
drinking
beer,
from 7 to 2 in the morning is drunk.
Yes, ma'am. So I lightly tossed him a beer, and unfortunately it was dark enough to where he had missed, and the beer had hit him in the face. In which after, immediately I started to apologize to him, stating that I didn't mean to, but it was apparent he was looking at me and did not catch the beer. So personally, I think everything he said to you right now was...
That's your story. You tossed him a beer
Yeah.
because he asked you. He said, toss me a beer.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was dark,
Yes.
and you were drunk, and he was drunk.
I wasn't drunk, Your Honor. I had 4 beers within the time of 10 o'clock till when this incident happened?
You know, I'm not real comfortable with that, sir.
Okay.
Because according to you, you had been drinking for 4 hours. And not only were you drinking for 4 hours, but you brought extra alcohol to have in the park. By the way,
Which was a
by the
closed
way,
container.
where do you live? In what
In
city?
Pasadena, Your Honor.
In California. Are you allowed to drink alcohol in parks in California?
I'm not certain.
Well, let's find out. Open beer cans in city parks in California.
That's a no.
So after...
We're not talking yet.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Drinking alcoholic beverages is a prohibited activity in parks and park areas, according to the Pasadena City Park rules.
Thank you. This park that you went to, what's the name of it?
I'm not sure. It was up the street from the last bar we were at.
Okay. Now, did you, Mr. Costello, and the defendant, immediately after this event, did you communicate with him via text or email?
I texted him, I think it was roughly a couple of days later.
Okay. I'd like to see the text.
I have that.
That's all I want to see.
Other thing
Don't say anything else.
Okay.
Just show me the texts that you sent him a couple of days later.
There it is.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. I'd like to see these texts from your phone, and I'd like to see all your text messages starting September 14th.
It's right here.
Of 2021. No, sir, you have to understand. What you said to me here, what you gave me, is 2 texts a year apart. I want to see the texts to him.
There was nothing.
After September 14th, you mean he didn't respond at all to this? I don't believe that.
My next thing that I did was I sent a letter through the mail, and I have that here, and I have proof of it where I had it so where he had to sign for it, and I have the receipt for it as well.
What date?
That one, I can pull it up right here.
I'm sorry, what letter? I never received a letter.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that I'm supposed to believe that after you sent this email on September 14th, which is 3 days after the event, he never responded to you, and you never sent a follow-up email or text.
That was the letter. And in the letter I gave him...
Shh, just a second.
Okay.
Oh, here. Take this back. It's nonsense. I don't want to see something prepared for litigation, sir. You said you had a document that you sent to him that he had to sign for. If you sent him a letter, return receipt requested, then you have a return receipt requested with a signature on it. That's a document that you prepared 2 days ago.
I have the receipt in here.
Let's get it.
Okay.
I never signed such document.
Just don't shout out again.
Yes, ma'am.
It's annoying, and I'm annoyed enough with this case.
I'm sorry for being so unorganized.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're so unorganized too, or disorganized.
Oh, here it is.
Great.
Certified mail. They're stuck to the back one.
This was sent April of 2022. I want to see what the response was. There had to be a response.
I never got a
since
response
September
from
14th, 2021. There had to be a response.
I never got a response from him.
Kevin, show this to Mr. Knapp and tell me if he recalls this text message.
Your Honor, no, I do not remember getting this text.
Why would you respond a year later? I know from the past, dealing with Mr. Knapp here, he tends to always, being friends, whenever get into an altercation or argument, he unfollows me, blocks me on everything. Okay. So there's a possibility by that text message not going through.
I don't deal in possibilities, sir.
I sent the text message, and I have proof of there. It was delivered, and I never got a response from him.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Sir, this incident happened September 11th. You have to understand, I think that if that's what happened. I tend to believe that the defendant did not just willy-nilly take a can and fling it at your face. I want you to know that I don't believe that. You were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How
Giovanni Costello has accused his former friend, Jacob Knapp, of hitting him with a beer can. Jacob says Giovanni asked him to throw it.
Okay, it is more likely than not, that you were sitting with this lady who, according to you, you were supposed to drive home. Mm-hmm. That's what you said 5 minutes ago. So you were supposed to drive home, which means she was trashed, because that's what you said. You said, I wasn't...
This was the arrangements from the very beginning of the night.
Okay. Do you understand? So we had a whole bunch of trashed people. And I am more likely to believe the defendant when he says you said to him, toss me a beer, and it accidentally hit you in the face.
My questioning is that the...
I don't answer questions.
Okay, well, where the beer was placed on the table, I don't understand why I would have to ask him to toss me a beer when I can simply reach over and grab one myself.
I don't know either. But it sounds more likely to me than not that it was his beer, he brought it there, and you said to him, toss me a beer. And you failed to catch it. Now, that doesn't mean that the defendant isn't at least partially responsible for the stupidity of that night. But you have some responsibility, too, because I really don't believe that he left the bar. He was angry and frustrated over something that you had no idea what he was angry and frustrated over, because you were all sitting together. And he just, out of the blue, took a beer and threw it at your face. I don't believe that. Do you understand?
If I could show you a picture here, you could see that if he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it did.
Just a second. Mm-hmm. It can. It can.
Okay.
I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie, a very hard cookie. And have. Mm-hmm. And have. I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak, it was so hard. But certainly from a beer can. So I don't believe that you're blameless. What was your dental bill, sir?
I have the statements here.
While he's looking for that, you understand that if you were sitting there and instead of a bunch of beer cans, and the plaintiff said to you, you know, that gun that's in your pocket, toss it over to me, I want to take a look at it. And you did. You took a gun out of your pocket and you tossed it over to him, and as you were tossing it over, it accidentally fired. Would it be his fault if he got shot?
No.
No. Whose fault would it be?
Mine.
Right. Because you weren't supposed to do that. Right. Because it was potentially dangerous.
Of course.
Well, same thing with a knife or an explosive device.
Right.
Or something very hot, like toss me a cup of coffee in a container and it splatters. So you don't do what anybody asks you to do if it's not a smart thing to do.
Right.
Unless you're drunk. Unless you're drunk.
Your Honor,
then,
if I may.
Yeah.
Coming from a baseball background, such as me and Gio did.
I don't care about your baseball background. There's no question, sir, that you acknowledge you threw it at him. And I'm telling you that if your excuse is that he asked me to do it, so I followed the fool's directions. I'm telling you, he's going to pay part of his dental bill, because I think it was partially his responsibility. But if you acknowledge that you were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction, you have to be partially liable. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How old are you?
27.
27 is old. And you?
28, Your Honor.
28. You know, old enough not to be so stupid. You know, you can figure 17, 18-year-olds are so stupid. At age 28, you should be doing something constructive. I assume you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a chef.
And you?
I'm a lumberman, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're both gainfully employed, letting off a little steam. That's fine. But if there's a problem that develops because anybody is not operating on all cylinders because of alcohol, you have to take responsibility. What was the dental bill?
My dental bill came out to $2,342.
Can I see that, please, Kevin?
I have this here. I'll give you both.
Was any of this dental bill covered by insurance?
On the dental, no.
Okay. Anything else?
My wholeheartedly truth is I didn't ask him for a beer. I had no problems. I was avoiding him the whole night for the most part because from the past, Jacob has had a way worse drinking problem than I've ever gotten to. I went out that night solely to have a couple drinks, hang out with friends. The night went longer than expected.
Very nice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,171, which is half of your dental bill. You pay half. Don't get drunk. You're too old to get drunk. I don't believe that he maliciously threw this at you. I think that you asked for a beer, tossed it at you, and you missed. That was his stupidity and yours. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
All I did was I underhand lightly tossed it over to him, and that's really what happened.
I did nothing wrong to deserve to get a beer thrown in my face like a baseball.
Unfortunately, he chipped his tooth, and so it was unfortunate.
I said, hey, Jacob, look, like, you chipped my tooth. Like, look what you just did.
No more drinking in the parks, guys.
Not to do it again.
I think this situation is the exact reason cities like Pasadena have rules about drinking alcohol in parks, because like you always say, it's not an on purpose, it's an accident. But a lot of times there are certain things that can increase the probability of an accident happening.
True.
And I think drinking at 2 a.m. in a park probably is one of those things.
That's true. So that's a so.
Xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với series tô màu tranh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình có tô màu cho bức tranh của một em vẹt nha. Đây là em vẹt của mình. Các bạn hãy cùng mình bắt tay vào và tô màu cho bức tranh ngay bây giờ nhé. Và hãy theo dõi đến cuối video nha. Bây giờ thì chúng mình sẽ cùng nhau tô màu cho bạn vẹt nha. Đầu tiên thì mình sẽ tô cái phần mỏ đã. Mọi người đợi mình xíu nhé. Phần mỏ thì chúng mình sẽ tô màu gì bây giờ nhỉ? Để mình xem nào. Chúng mình sẽ tô màu xám cho phần mỏ nhé. Đầu mỏ này thì mình sẽ lựa chọn là màu cam. Ở phần phía trong thì mình sẽ tô màu xám nhé. Đừng học đi nha, tao nghe tiếng máy tính đấy. Đức ơi, học đi nha. Bây giờ thì mình sẽ tô đến cái phần đầu này. Mình sẽ chọn là màu hồng nhé. Phần thân thì mình sẽ tô màu đỏ. Cách sau đây là gì? Còn buông vai rất đẹp tỏa sáng. Còn tương lai em vẫn còn yêu anh. Phần chân thì mình sẽ tô màu vàng. Phần đuôi thì mình sẽ tô màu xanh nhé. Xanh than nha. Giờ thì mình sẽ tô cành cây. Cuối cùng là chúng ta sẽ tô màu cho lá cây. Và bức tranh của mình đã được tô màu xong rồi nha. Cảm ơn các bạn đã cùng mình theo dõi video này. Nếu mọi người yêu thích series tô màu tranh của mình thì hãy like, share và subscribe để ủng hộ cho mình nha. Tạm biệt mọi người.